Live.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Fruit Heroes on this beautiful Saturday morning where it is snowing in Texas. I don't know what's going on in the world right now. It was 70 degrees yesterday. We almost had a tornado, and now it's snowing. This might be the last day of existence. At least you get to spend it with us. That's going to be really great. We have something super special planned for today. I'm really excited about it. I don't know if I already said I'm Katie Quixotic. I am. I do stuff all over the internet. You can find me everywhere as that, and I'm going to let the important people introduce themselves. And we'll go in our normal order, and then we'll end with our special guest.
Hi, I am questioning my importance, but here I am, Carl, playing Lafcadio Whitehorn, the Tabaxi Warlock.
I'm Vinny. I have never questioned my importance. I know exactly where I stand at all times in terms of importance. I'm playing Kayla Irvine, the half-elven cleric of Denier.
I'm Casey Age on social media, and I'm playing the champion of Time Warrior Imperial Plains Heckler, Big Fire Chicken, Shoot, Fed Storm Slayer, Shadows, Gnoss, the Myth of Neverwinter. Good morning.
Hey everybody, I am John. I am the dwarf from Marabar, master of the axe, enemy of the drow, traveler of the plains, deliverer of certain death. I am the wampum thunderbelly of the Selenar.
Hi, I'm Graham. I play Taslim. I don't give into labels and titles. I don't subscribe to that analogy, if you will. I'm a wizard. Thanks.
I'm glad you're already in character. And last but certainly not least.
Hi everyone, I am Derek Sword, DSword16 on Twitter and Discord and all the other stuff. I am going to be guesting today, in case you were wondering why there was a new face. I'm going to be playing Ryman Olero. He is a human paladin, and without giving too much away, he's connected to Gnoss in her backstory and history and all that. So yeah, I'm really excited to be here. I think a little more excited than Graham, maybe. And yeah, I'm glad to actually be here, considering that Skype crashed the second we went live. So glad to be back.
I have a tip for you, because Skype hates me. Don't touch it. Don't move anything. Don't mute yourself. Don't try to open the chat panel. Just let it sit on the computer and move everything around it. And if you don't touch it, you'll probably be okay.
I think what happened is I tried opening Twitch, just, to have that open, and my computer went, no, that's too much, fuck off.
Nope, we're done here. Absolutely not. I love it. I understand those feels. I need to start replacing parts of my computer. Anyway, so who would like to do the recap? I feel like it might be... Well, yes. It's probably...
I did watch it.
I was going to say, it's probably the most fresh in his mind. However, I think this might be maybe a Kale thing. Maybe,
I think it's a Lafcadio thing, actually, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it's a Lafcadio thing. It's literally anyone who's not me.
You've done like the last 3, I think. So you're like way off the hook for like the next month or so. But yeah. So I'm not going to make anyone do it. Whoever would like to can.
The betrayal.
Betrayal? Who's being betrayed?
I've been put on the spot.
That's true.
So, last week, our fearless adventurers made it to the bottom of the Lost Library of Denier, or Lost Library, and Denier is relevant to it. On the basement level, Kale walked into the door, and he saw everything and nothing at the same time. He was in the mainframe and was at peace with not knowing everything. Some things have to stay gray. And that's pretty much it. The gift of understanding was his, and also some minor renovations were done in the library. Gnoss did find we believe, a teleportation circle that can be used to come back here in the future should we have need to. And I believe that's it.
Yeah, more or less. Pretty much. I think we ended with Taslim casting his mansion and everyone else kind of chilling outside. And I think Wampum joined Taslim in the mansion. So they're inside. The rest of you are outside. I think the idea was bedding down for the night. Don't know if you plan on sleeping inside or outside. And in the morning, you plan on heading to Westgate. If somebody would like to refresh us on the plan for that.
Sure. So we were going to steal a page out of Critical Role's notebook and go in the morning into Taslim's magnificent mansion. And because it counts as an extra planar space, from there, Kale will cast the plane shift spell to plane shift back to the material plane with a destination set at Westgate. I don't know why I'm yelling.
You're really excited about it, I guess.
So much excitement.
All right, we go ahead and put, well, why don't you guys tell me what you're doing in the morning? How early do you get up? What are you doing to prep? We'll go over whatever you do before we leave, and then we'll head that way. If anything.
I'm preparing spells because I forgot to do it before the session.
Same. I have so many spells. Yeah, Taslim wakes up first because he doesn't really sleep. And then he watches his invisible servants make breakfast.
One-armed push-ups for like an hour.
Hour?
Yeah, and then whenever I go to my peak, I'll clap and then go back down. Clap.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wampum is pouring Thunderbelly ale over his oats.
Breakfast of champions. How are you feeling this morning, Gnoss? How long has it been since you've been home? What's going through your mind right now?
It's been over 5 years at this point, and I feel a little sick. There's a little bit of a rumbling in the tumbling, which is my stomach.
Yeah, I followed.
Yeah, so I know it's going to ultimately be a good thing, and I shouldn't be nervous. I mean, why am I nervous? But it's there, regardless of what my logical brain is trying to do.
Okay. So a little bit of an extra hard workout this morning, trying to get all that nervous energy out of your body.
Faux show. Also, if I see a moment in which Kale is less busy, I might ask him if he's gotten any farther on figuring out what his dark cosmic hand thing is.
Nope.
Okay, fair enough.
All right. So you all take your breakfast, either with or without the Thunderbelly Ale additive to your oats, and you set off in the morning. Would you go ahead and put the plane shift spell in roll 20 for us, Vinny? Because I believe there's like percentage chances of something or whatever. And have you ever been to Westgate before, Kale?
No, absolutely not. Has a terrible reputation in Eltergard. Why would anyone go there ever? I'm posting it. Hold
Opulence?
on. Opulence. Testing VTT. Aha, I did it.
You and up to 8 willing creatures who link hands in a circle transport into a different plane of existence. You can specify target destination in general terms, such as the city of Brass and Total Plain. If you're trying to reach the city, you might arrive in its Street of Steel, Gate of Ashes, or looking at it from across a lake of fire. Sea of Fire. Like I said, Lake of Fire? This was sort of programming there. Alternatively, if you know the essential sequence of a teleportation circle in another plane that can take you to that circle, you can use it to banish an unwilling creature, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so, you've never been there. Do you? I think we've established that you all possess like a general map of the area, so it's not like you're just saying Westgate in your mind and having no idea where you're going. You have like an idea in your mind of where it's at, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect. So tell us how you cast the plane shift spell, and we'll see what happens.
Let's see how plane shift spell. So he gathers. We're all in the mansion. I tell everybody to gather around in a nice little circle, and link hands. I guess because I have to use both my hands because we're in a circle, but I have to have this fork. So I guess like Kale sits cross-legged, and he kind of takes it. He takes the material plane tuning fork out, and he just kind of shoves it into his lap so that it's standing up, and then he flicks it and grabs whoever's to his right hand because he's already using his left to hold on to someone else's hand, and then he says words in Celestial for a minute or for a couple seconds, and then.
All right. So you're all sitting around in this circle, and there's this like rush of it, like would be wind, but you don't actually like, feel wind on your skin, and like a flicker of almost darkness, like you're blinking unwillingly. And go ahead and roll a percentile dice for me, there, Kale.
Here I go doing that.
Doing the thing.
30.
30. All right. So, in that case, there's this involuntary blink, sort of like in front of your face as the light kind of reaches down to a pinpoint and then bursts back out in front of you. But instead of sitting in Taslin's, I imagine, opulent mansion, I've said opulent twice now, can't say that for the rest of the session, mansion, you are sitting on a freshly varnished wooden platform. It doesn't look like it's been made recently, but perhaps just sort of treated recently. There's kind of that smell of wood stain a little bit in the area. The scent of that wood stain is mixed with the salt sort of, or I guess, is this fresh water? Is the Sea of Fallen Stars fresh water? I didn't think to look at that. It's the smell of a duck. It's a little bit fishy. There's the humidity in the air, and there's like a cool mist where the sort of like placid temperature, in juxtaposition to the placid temperature of the mansion, the sound of the waves crashing against the wood is like sort of intermingled with this, and it becomes readily apparent upon viewing the fact that you're on a dock, and also the sort of like a rush of sensory input that you are all sitting in a circle holding hands in the middle of a very busy dock. And there is a small crowd of, looks like ship workers, like dockrights. I'm not very good at nautical stuff, I'm gonna have to say that. Just kind of like where they've all paused around you and are slightly staring. Some of them have boxes in their hands, some of them have sacks over their shoulders. They're like, there's not a uniform that's readily apparent, although you do see groups of them wearing maybe like sashes of the same color to maybe signify that they are on some sort of crew together, or something like that. And so you're basically seated in the middle of probably about 30 people who are at a bit of a distance and paused and staring at you.
I'll stand up.
Stay here. You ain't seen a dwarf before. Just go back to work.
Make an intimidation check. As Gnoss stands up too.
Basically do the same thing. I was going to dust myself off and then just lock eyes with the nearest person and be like, what the fuck are you looking at?
Taslin just immediately let go of whoever's hands he was holding. Just.
Gotcha. So with your 15, you see there are three younger people, two gentlemen and one lady, we'll say gentleman and lady, who were all kind of standing in the same sort of area, but there are two of them wearing a similar colored sash, and the other one has like a bright red shirt on. So it doesn't look like they're necessarily together, but they're all younger, and you stand up and you say that, and they all kind of do the scurry thing that people who don't want to be caught in a fight with a very intimidating looking dwarf might do. And they kind of leave, and everyone else's posture relaxes a little bit when it becomes apparent that this isn't some sort of like necessarily malicious incident that they're witnessing, and people kind of like start to trickle away and like continue on their business slowly. People are still like watching you all because this is not an everyday event, perhaps, but it's no longer like that like record scratch moment where everybody in the area has stopped to see what's happening.
I'd like to turn around and look up at the cliff since we're down at the docks where the city proper is, and there's a moment where the powerful breeze coming off of the sea takes my cape and makes it float for a moment, and like there's this violin music in the background. Da, 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 da.
You are now home. So you know this to be the area of the docks that was rebuilt after the spell plague and the sea had drained slightly. So this is the sort of like Tide Town area. You can see back up towards the city where the old docks are, and those have been sort of like repurposed into a variety of uses. And beyond that, of course, the city gates of this sprawling city of your youth.
Fantastic. I'm gonna start walking.
Okay. Gnoss gets up. Everything goes back to business as usual pretty much and starts taking off. What is everybody else doing?
I'm gonna follow.
Follow us.
Oh, before I forget, everyone definitely has water breathing before we used plane shift.
Okay. That's actually relevant now that you're next to a body of water, perhaps.
Well, it's always relevant.
That's true.
Just
That's
not
true.
necessarily necessary.
Definitely
Yeah.
never a waste of time and effort.
Absolutely not. Those 10 minutes.
Yeah. He could have done that while you were all eating breakfast. Simple enough. Yeah. Okay. You head into the city, Gnoss. What are you heading towards? Anything in particular? Are you making any stops? Are you visiting anyone? Are you making a beeline for your destination?
I am making a stop because between here and Fortune Boon Hall, there is a small hole-in-the-wall tavern called the Other Abyss. And that is where a very good friend of mine used to work. At least 5 years ago he worked there. Pretty sure he still works there now. Where else would he go?
That's fair. Okay. So you make your way to the Other Abyss. Is anyone else here at all been to Westgate, or is this all your first time in Westgate?
Lafcadio has spent a considerable amount of time in an elf persona, playing at being a bard at the Blue Banner, which is a much more upscale tavern.
Okay. Are you going to go ahead and stay appearing as yourself then, or do you want to switch to your elven alter ego?
No, I will still be Lafcadio, but my Mask of Many Faces does have me wearing full plate.
Full plate. Okay. So a very similarly imposing looking individual to walk alongside Gnoss and Wampum. Okay. So for anyone who hadn't seen the city before, it is a very large city. It's a very bustling city. It's got definite sort of like wards to it as you're leaving the docks in this very working oriented like shipwright harbor sort of situation, and it opens up into this city that obviously is very moneyed. The architecture is fine, although not everyone looks to have a great amount of money. There are many people around. It is loud. You can hear carts in the streets. You can hear hawkers barking their wares. You can hear tavern fights already happening, even this early in the morning. Off in the distance, the sound of glass is breaking, and you can hear the sort of like wood rattle as somebody has clearly been thrown out a window. There's a loud band playing. Something's like morning jazzy. In like a weird way, maybe still like night after jazzy. That's off to the other side as you're entering in. A lot of inns in this particular area, since travel, of course, would come by water for people who don't have spells like plane shift. And it is one of those, you can choose, of course, for yourself and within your character whether or not you would be taken aback or impressed or in any way by it. But it is a very loud, large, bustling place with a lot of sights and sounds and just sort of like sensory overload, if that's the sort of thing that might impact you. So you make a beeline for the Other Abyss, Gnoss. How long do you think it will take to get there based on where you remember it being the last time you were here?
Maybe like 30 minutes.
Okay. So you're all kind of following behind her, I assume, or like alongside. Gnoss is clearly leading the way. She's expertly cutting her way through the crowd.
I'm doing the thing where I'm making my presence large by kind of just flexing all of my muscles and keeping them flexed the entire time. And whenever I walk, it's more of a stomp, more of like I'm a golem trudging through the street. So unless it's like a horse or something, but even if it is a horse, there's a chance. that people are staying out of my way.
Gotcha. Yeah. Go ahead and make just a general like intimidation, like as you're puffing yourself up, and we're gonna do a lot of intimidation, which is probably a good idea in a city like this.
22.
Nice. Yeah, it's something that even with a passive perception of 10, anyone who is standing behind and following Gnoss in this moment, it's unclear sometimes whether somebody recognizes her and is out of the way on purpose, or they just glance over and see this trudging, focused figure who is like statuesque and imposing, and they just make the executive decision not to anger that individual. But it's like a palpable sea parting in these busy, bustling streets. And there is one occasion where even a cart, as it's going down the road, and Gnoss is incredibly focused on her destination, that the driver kind of veers slightly to the side and makes a berth out of her way, which was unusual for a cart. Normally they expect people to pass in front of them. And it's kind of like impressive, if you're so inclined to be impressed, that she hasn't been here in years and years, and yet is already like cutting a swath through the like common folk as if she owns the place. About 15 minutes into the walk, you estimate you're about halfway there, and you'll notice for the first time that somebody doesn't part the way. In fact, as the crowd of people is moving out of the way, and you're kind of heading more towards, like you're obviously leading the dock sort of district of this big city and heading more like inland, and it's the infrastructure looks a little bit different, and there's fewer inns, although there are still some. There's a person who emerges from the crowd, and one second, I have to scroll a lot. A human woman emerges from the left side of the crowd, and as opposed to making a wide berth, makes a beeline directly for Gnoss. She's got this sort of like long curly brown hair and these big green eyes. She's got black clothing on, a long cape, leather armor. It doesn't look like it's incredibly fancy leather armor. It looks like it's very functional leather armor, and you can see openly displayed daggers across her belt. And she kind of saunters up in that sort of like equally feels like she owns the place sort of attitude, but instead of like this statuesque imposing figure as like a you have no idea what my abilities are yet sort of person. And she reaches her hand back and backhands Gnoss across the face, unless Gnoss would like to react to this.
Just ow. Hey, Sophie. How you been?
Long time no see.
Yeah, I've been out and away, but you look good. Ow.
Of course I do. I always look good.
Oh. You gotten stronger too, I think.
Well, we learned a thing or two about working out from you, I have to say. One thing I gleaned from our time together, which was mysteriously cut short.
Yeah, about that. That's I kind of there was a thing I had to get out of town. You know how it is. You know, not a lot of time to say bye to anybody.
Make a persuasion roll.
I apologize.
Go ahead and make a persuasion roll. I want everyone else to make perception checks.
18.
18. So she's got this very, like, not overtly angry. You know this to be a person who is sly with their words and plays things close to the chest because having the upper hand is important. But you do see the sort of focused determination and like eyebrow that you had been giving, the sass brow, kind of softened slightly. She's like, heads leave, huh? Well, sometimes that does become the only option. Everything all right?
Now I think, yeah, maybe. I might be inviting trouble by being here, but we'll see.
Well, you're always trouble, but sometimes trouble's fun.
Will you forgive me?
Perhaps with a drink.
That's what a coincidence. Fortune favors us both. I am on my way now to Heezy's. Would you like to join us?
Oh,
Sophie, these are my companions. This is Kale Irvine, Lafcadia Whitehorn, Wampum Thunderbelly, Tazlin Abrio.
she kind of does like a wave and then a little bow and pulls her cloak out like it's a cape.
May I introduce Sophie Moretta?
The pleasure's all yours, I'm sure.
Quite. Pleased to make your acquaintance.
I'm just
Likewise.
glaring daggers. Taslin's just glaring at this lady, like, oof.
She winks at you.
No response, just flat.
What was your perception check, Kale?
9.
Oh, wait, there it is, 9. I see, sorry. So, Wampum and Taslin, as she is having this sort of like scene play out with Gnoss, where you can obviously tell that these people know each other, you're watching her, especially not only because this is the only person with the audacity to approach Gnoss and to put a hand on her, but also just because she's generally sort of like a commanding, a very like forceful personality type figure. When she is moving and gesturing, you catch a glimpse of something pinned to the side of her armor, the sort of like flowing shift that is restricted by the armor is mostly covering it, as well as the cloak. And when she is introduced and she moves her cloak to the side as if it's a cape to be thrown back, you two notice that it was tucked further into the sort of leather armor and has kind of made its way out as she did this grand gesture, and you see a small pin with what looks to be a snake on it that is now concealed again with her cloak down.
Could I do a history or arcana check to see if that symbol would necessarily mean anything to me?
Sure, which would you prefer,
Okay.
history or arcana?
I'll go history. Oh,
Okay.
wait. Oh, man, I've sold myself down the river. I should have said arcana. But, okay. History it is.
What are you going to say, Wampum?
I can do this.
I will
So
also
thing-
do a history check.
Of course, yeah. You're each individually noticing this, so you're welcome to individually make the check. We've got a 15 for Wampum and 22 for Taslin. You both immediately recognize this as a symbol of the Zintram, which is a known criminal organization. They are organized crime. The stories about them range from fairly innocuous and opportunist to terribly murderous and awful. Whether or not this immediately makes her like a danger to you isn't necessarily. You can't assume that this person is a danger to you necessarily just by that, because there are contacts that this interim have, or people that work with them that don't have like deadly intent, but it's a known criminal organization for sure.
As long as me and Gnoss have been together, has she ever talked to me about her?
Gnoss, have you ever mentioned Sophie before?
Nope.
Okay.
You've never heard the name Sophie, not once.
I'll stick my arm out.
She'll thread hers through yours expertly, and just kind of like lay her palm on the top of your hand and lead the way.
Yeah, I'll start walking.
Okay. Any conversation as you continue the other half of your journey between you and Sophie or anyone else? Doesn't have to be, just checking. You got about 15 minutes-ish on the walk.
Wampum is going to peel off and go to Aurora's Emporium.
Aurora's Emporium. Okay. Do you let them know that you're going to take off and meet back up with them, or do you just kind of into the crowd?
I'll let the people know behind me since Gnoss is busy. I'll just let everybody know. I'll be back in a little while.
Do you know
Okay.
where we're going, mate?
I got this little thing that we use, right?
The
Sending
sending stones?
Mhm.
All right.
Yeah, that's true.
Good luck.
So,
All
sorry, I crashed. Where's Wampum going?
To Aurora's Emporium. What
I'll go
is-
with Wampum.
Okay. All right, so Talzin's going to go with you. What is Aurora's Emporium? What is your goal for visiting this emporium?
I need some updated beard jewelry.
Updated beard jewelry. All right. Oh, of course. Yeah. That seems exactly the sort of place that would have, and specifically, so tell me how you heard of this place.
I have been to Westgate in my deliveries of my Thunderbelly Ale to as many taverns as I can.
Okay.
So over the years, I have been told about Aurora's, but I've never been there.
Okay. Yeah, you know where exactly you're going, so you should be able to navigate it fairly well. The city is laid out in a purposeful manner. Trade is important here. They usually deal in fine goods, so especially in the mercantile district, you can easily navigate either by assistance from the local guards or by the signs that are up. So that shouldn't be difficult for you to find at all. And one of the things that's most intriguing about this place that you've heard is that they claim to be purveyors of fine dwarven crafts from another kingdom, essentially. Like they import them from all over, and so you'll find things you wouldn't normally be able to find at home. So that's probably not too terribly far. There's the market. And here's this. Okay, so you're going to shoot off, and it's probably going to take you about another 10 minutes or so to reach where you believe that to be. So they'll be traveling for another 15 minutes, and you'll be taking a 20-minute offshoot plus buying time. So you'll be about 30-ish, 40 minutes behind them, depending upon how long you take while you're there. So what are you looking for specifically at this place? You said beard jewelry, but what would catch your eye?
I want a set of platinum jewelry with sapphire incense.
Sapphire incense. All right. Go ahead and roll me a percentile die.
Percentile. Let's do this. Let's do this and this. And I got a 97.
All right. Well, as luck would have it, you enter into the establishment. Being that this is claiming to be a purveyor of fine upscale goods, it does have that sort of appearance of a high society establishment. The fronts have two big braziers over at the doors. They're not lit currently because it is daylight outside, but they are finely crafted with gold inlays of more of a, there's, instead of having a beautiful design to it, it itself is beautiful, but it's coins and scales and things that would reference a mercantile life rather than something you might see on a brazier that would be a little bit more aiming towards religious or natural or whatever. So you enter it, and there are large curtains that line the walls, and there are reds and blues and purples that are kind of laid over each other, and it gives it this very sort of exotic feel of a place that doesn't exactly fit into this particular city. It is a little bit more quiet. You think that probably the purpose, aside from the color and the texture that's being added to the environment, is that there's a bit of sound dampening going here. So it's you're walking into a calm atmosphere away from the hustle and bustle of the city. There are 3, it seems patrons probably in here already. 2 are perusing some clothing racks with these elegant robes that have cloth of gold and fine. You can tell even from here that they're very finely made just by the sort of tailoring to the edges. There's another person that's picking through what seems to be a set of or a display of fine inks and quills, and you do see in the back at a a counter essentially that there is jewelry back there. And do you have any particular expectation for who runs the place? Aurora, I assume. Have you heard anything about her?
No, I haven't heard anything about her other than this is the place to go to get my jewelry.
Okay. You see behind the counter an elven woman with a silvery, sort of almost not a tiara necessarily, but like head jewelry that is very like delicate, and there aren't very many jewels set into it, but it's like very thin pieces of silver that are almost like wound together. She's got long blonde hair and blue eyes, and she's wearing a blue robe that's off the shoulder. And it's just it's very like simple but like becoming. And as you enter in, she raises a hand, says, "Let me know if you need any help with anything."
Wampum's going to take his helmet off and hook it over the handle of his axe on his side, and he's going to pull his beard out from his armor. And the beard right now only has silver jewelry on it. So I'm going to motion to the jewelry cache in the back.
She'll just like nod with a knowing smile and say, "Ah, easy to see what you're here for. Are you looking for any color schemes or themes in particular?"
I love sapphires.
"Ah, I have just the thing for you." And she turns around, and there are glass display cases, but instead of going directly to one of the glass display cases, she reaches under one and opens, she takes out like a set of keys, opens a lockbox, and inside that lockbox are several smaller boxes. She pulls out a second ring of keys that is just absolutely full. Even just like at a glance, you estimate there could be as many as 50 tiny keys on the set of rings. She flips through them for a moment, unlocks one of the boxes, and pulls it up in front of you. She's got one of those like velvet cloth things. She takes it out and sets them on so you can look at them and buff them if needed. And there are these just absolutely gorgeous silver and sapphire beard adornments that would easily be like, this is the intention of them. It's not something that could be used for that. These were specifically crafted to be jewelry for a beard.
I'm going to look a little disappointed. I'm looking for more of an upgrade, maybe gold or platinum. I want to kind of get away from the silver.
Oh, platinum and sapphire. One moment. She takes the pieces that she showed you originally. She locks them, puts them back in the lockbox, locks that. She kind of makes like a twirling spin, heads behind a curtain in the back. She's gone for just a few minutes. Tazlin, are you doing anything specific? Are you looking around for anything while you're here?
Oh, absolutely. Now that Tazlin is down a lot of items, he is browsing and kind of looking if there's anything that seems magical, and also he's looking for jewelry because Tazlin's decked out with like a Gnoss piercing. He has his ears pierced all the way or along the ridge, so he's probably looking for new jewelry as well.
Okay, make an Arcana check and roll a percentile die for me to see if there's anything that catches your eye. While she's gone for a few minutes, she comes back out and she has a it's like a black cloth-covered box. She opens it up, and there's a leather interior to this, which looks to be like a jewelry box is the intention. There are places for rings to be set and such things. And she reveals several sets of beard jewelry. There is a golden emerald set. There is a platinum, sapphire, and opalite set. So it does have the opalite on it as well. And then there is another set that is silver with platinum inlay and sapphires. There are other pieces there as well, but these are the ones that like look the finest, the most well-crafted, with the most intricate designs on them. Which do you think would catch your eye the most?
I'm going to point to the platinum sapphire opalite set. That'd be more my style.
She kind of like eyebrow quirks, and she's like, "Oh, well, wonderful. These are certainly available. They haven't been reserved by anyone. They are a bit pricey. If that is to your tastes, then I would have to ask for 400 platinum."
Well, 400 that is more than nice. Actually, I will ruffle around them, and I'll bring around my pack, and I'll bring out a nice sack, and I'll begin to say, is there a more secure type that I can count this out for you?
Oh, absolutely. She takes a step back to the curtain that she stepped behind before, and she kind of sticks her head behind it, and you hear her saying something to someone. And after a few seconds, a second woman comes out. She looks, even though elven and age can be a little bit difficult to distinguish, she looks like she's slightly younger. She has brown hair and brown eyes, and she's wearing like a similarly fashioned green gown, sort of like robes. She's going to come out and watch the place, and this person will take you to the back where you can count out the coins individually.
Okay.
What was your roll, Taslin, for the Arcana?
That is a 22.
Okay. So, with your General Arcana check, you look around, and what you are able to find, 1 second here. You find a belt that seems to have a bit of a magical aura to this. Go ahead and make a history check to see if, like, it has a magical aura to it, but doesn't necessarily signify what it does. See if anything on it is distinguished to you that makes you understand what this thing does.
Okay, and that's a history check you wanted?
Yeah. So you're able to count out the coin in peace, Wampum. Is there any other items you're pursuing or conversation you'd like to have with her?
I will put in a extra 10. I'm going to ask her, can she get me a set of rings to match?
Oh yeah. She's got contacts all over, and she knows several craftsmen. So she takes down some of your specifications, and she says she'll look for something. And if she has to have it personally crafted, then depending upon the materials you would like, it might be slightly more. But if they're existing and they're not like a special order, then this should cover the cost. Okay.
And I will tell her that I will pay for what is necessary. And,
Gotcha.
I will tell her that if I am unreachable, you can reach the Thunderbelly clan, and we will definitely take care of payment and delivery.
Perfect. She's going to write down your name, the specifications of what you're looking for, the Thunderbelly clan, and she basically has a filing system where she's putting this as a special order that she'll be looking into. She says she can get back to you within a couple of days, asks where you're staying in the city.
At this point, I do not know where we are staying, so I will send word back to you.
Okay. And if for some reason she's unable to reach you, and since you've paid in advance, she would like to get them to you, would the best thing be to send them to your home in Mirabar?
Aye.
She would ask where your home is, but...
Yeah.
Okay. So that's the plan. If you guys end up leaving too quickly for her to be able to locate this and get it to you, she's just going to have it delivered via courier, which might take some time because you're quite far away, but it will arrive eventually.
Okay.
Okay. Taslin, what was your history roll?
A 8.
Don't know. It's not a potent magical aura. There's just this seems to be more where do rich people come to spend their money? Here. Is it really stocked with super awesome magic items? Nah.
Probably not. Okay, I'll buy 50 gold worth of just random jewelry.
Okay. What colors and styles would catch your eye?
I think he's gonna get one of everything, maybe a silver, one of copper.
Okay.
It's just gonna be a random assortment of just that equivalent value.
Gotta have a variety.
Too picky.
Perfect. Okay. So you're able to the both of you are able to easily complete your transactions. If you have any additional things you'd like to request from her, Taslin, you could, and then you're able to make your way back to the establishment you're going to. So about the time that you all, going back to Gnoss, Lefcadio, Kale, and Sophie, about the time you all reach your destination of the other abyss, and you said you're going to call them when you need directions, right, Wampum? Yeah?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So why don't you go ahead and describe, Gnoss, what the other abyss looks like?
It smells like mold inside. It's very dark. It only has like table candles to light it, if that. There aren't any windows. There is one door that you're aware of. The wood is infested with termites in many places, and it is it's fairly popular among criminals, and so it's, even at its lowest points of business, it's maybe half full of brigands and outlaws and nasty looking people.
Okay.
And before she goes in there, I'm gonna just pull my hood up here. So
Gotcha.
it's difficult to recognize me. Hide them
Perfect.
ears.
Yeah. A tiny bit of anonymity in this place.
Right.
So you all arrive at a building that is as described there. It definitely does look fancy. It definitely looks like there is illicit activity that occurs here from time to time, and it looks a little worn down. You open the outside door to walk in, and you see a very dimly lit room. There's a buzz around as there's a table of people playing cards. Someone has just like stabbed a knife into the table and is pointing at someone. There's some sort of maybe disagreement going on. There's another person sitting. They have a big scar in their face and an eye patch on one side, and they're drinking ale with like some morning gruel. It looks like they're eating. Whether they brought it themselves or bought it here, it's a little unclear because the bowl doesn't look very clean. And there are just like various other people kind of like having drinks with their morning food or evening food, depending upon what sort of work they do. And you see behind a bar at the back is a goblin.
The shadow is covering half of my face except for my mouth, which breaks into this wide, toothy, almost vicious grin. And I will approach the bar, sit down, and be like, "Give me your cheapest piss, you tiny bastard."
Why don't you describe this person to everyone, Nas, who you're talking to?
Yeah, the goblin has an eye patch. He's plenty scarred up. He would have a full head of brown hair, except for the fact that he's balding. So he's got like just one spigot here with the horseshoe thing going on in the rest of the area. And it's long and stringy and scraggly. But he does attempt to keep most of it back in a presentable braid. But you got, because of his work and his hopping around, having to hop around, being small, it's still coming out of its braid. He's in black leather jerkin with the arm pads and stuff. He looks like he could be ready for a fight at any minute. You don't see any weapons on him, but that doesn't mean he has them. He doesn't have them.
Yes, he'd been turned around. He was like putting something behind the cabinet, and anyone who is over like maybe 5'8" can see well enough over this slightly low counter to see that there are like stairs behind it for him to kind of like walk up to it and be tall enough to like see over and do things. So he's like bent down doing something, and he goes, "Hey!" He looks up and he's like, "Well, aren't you a sight for sore eyes?"
What's good, easy?
How you been? And he's like already pouring you a drink. Sets it down in front of you.
It's been an adventure, to say the least. It's been several adventures. I died many times. I'm an angel now.
Well, you always been kind of an angel.
Which Gnoss have you met?
In a manner of speaking. Alright, fair enough. You're nice, though.
Thanks. Heezy, these are my friends. This is Kale Irvine, Lefcadia Whitehorn. You know Sophie. And where's Wampum and Taslin?
Kale. She's like, this is Kale Arvine, and in your head, you hear Wampum.
Where you at?
Simultaneously, out loud, Kale says, Wampum went to a store for some reason, and Taslin went with him. And while he's saying that out loud, and his head is responding to Wampum, and he says whatever the other abyss. That was it.
Yeah. The other abyss, and gives you like general directions with a few landmarks. You feel like you could probably make it there. You and Taslin with the information that you got. I want you to make a survival check, or one of you can make it and the other one can assist.
My survival. What is my survival? My survival is a big old 3, Taslin.
My survival's a big ol' 7.
Hey.
So I'll do it.
All right.
23. Will that do it?
Yeah. So you're not familiar with this city, but the directions and landmarks should be clear enough to get you there, and you know the name of the place. So if at any point you get turned around, you should be able to find it. You'll arrive in about 20-ish, 25-ish minutes.
Okay.
And I'll let Kale know. On our way.
Yeah.
Does
I'll be
Sending
like
Stone
switching
work
out
once a
jewelry.
day.
Yeah.
So Taslin
But
will
I
have
have
to
one
do
as
it.
well.
Yeah.
So, do you want me to send him and tell him we're on our way?
Don't matter to me.
Well, I do so love wasting things Kale gives me. And
That's why I did it.
we're on our way. Order me a drink, please. We'll be there soon. You can respond to this message.
He does not respond to that message at all.
Oops. Excuse me. All right. So they're on their way. He's kind of like leaning over the bar now, and somebody is like in the back, like shaking a glass at him, and he like waves him off, like, I'm busy. It's like, you left? You back? What are you doing? Are you here to stay again?
No, I'm here for just a thing that I gotta do with Timora.
I know that look.
It might hurt. But you look like the place is the same.
Make it?
Yeah, fair enough. Do you happen to carry Thunderbelly ale here? It's been getting around.
I've heard of it. A little expensive
Okay.
for these tastes.
Yeah, okay. I'll just take like I don't know, 3 jugs of the general all-purpose stuff.
The fine swill. Yeah.
Yeah.
Could I have a pitcher of milk, please?
Got some milk. Probably still good. I'll check it for you. So he pours everyone that's present a drink, and then 2 extras, because he heard 2 more names. Well, -1 because Lefkadia wants milk. And he hops off of the stairs and kind of like goes in the back room. You hear like clattering, and like somebody's like opened up a cabinet, is like throwing pans or pots or dishes or something that are like clattering on the other end of a room. And he comes back with a tankard of milk. It's warm. It's not curdled. It's good. But it's like that sort of like, it's not super fresh. But it's not bad or anything.
I've had worse.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead.
So gather round, ye friends of new and old. Allow me to regale you. And I'll turn to Sophie as well and say, all right, so here's what happened. You remember the bounty that I was going after, and you said not to. The assassin called Cole.
And Sophie's like, I seem to remember several conversations about this one.
Right. Well, you were right about everything. And I got my ass kicked. I almost died. But this guy, like, you were dead on. This guy had a mean streak. Like, he enjoyed harm for harm's sake. And me and the person that I was trying to protect at the time were the targets of that. So I barely got out of there with my skin on my body, essentially. I crawled down the street best I could, and I heard him shout after me that he, even if he wasn't going to kill me, which I'm sure he was at some point, but he wholly intended to come after everyone that I knew and loved, to make an example. And I knew that the defenses that we had at the temple weren't going to be enough, especially for an assassin who isn't a front-on fighter. So I decided that in order to make it a moot point, because it was all going to be to inflict pain upon me, I left. And that's the story.
And he's just kind of like wide-eyed, like looking around, like a little obviously unnerved. Sophie's like, you could have come to us. We just split the score with you. Send a whole team after him.
What he could do, what he did to me, I didn't want to happen to you. And he was completely capable. I wasn't about to get involved in your organization either, because they demand way too much. So.
Well, if the bounty was as good as you said it was, that might have been enough for them, but oh well.
I mean, who's to say he wasn't part of it himself? He's their type.
I cut in. Oh, what organization are you members of? I've been part of an organization or two.
I like to think as this conversation's going on, Tazin and Wampum, the two that noticed, are like, do you think we should have told somebody?
Yeah, I think like this is the like summary of the conversation. There are like more details and some exchanges. So this is probably like about the time that Wampum and Tazlin are arriving, as like he's had to like stop Gnoss a couple of times to go like pass out drinks so that like all out brawls didn't happen in his little establishment and stuff. And so he's like hopping back up on the steps, and Sophie's like reclining almost like if you could sit like it's a chaise lounge on a bar stool, she's somehow doing it, and like leaning against the bar. And this is the scene that you all walk in on, is like this little goblin's hopping back up on these stairs behind this bar and like washing a glass in a really like atypical or stereotypical fashion. And Lufcadio asks this question, and you're able to hear it like the end of what she said, as well as his question. And she says, "Oh well, I deal in information mostly, so I work with many people. There are a few different groups or organizations that owe me favors and such, but I guess it depends on what you're looking for as to how I should answer."
Just curious. I understand the need for discretion sometimes.
In all things. And Raymond, why don't you tell me what the morning at the temple is like?
Yeah. So this morning particularly is a little more excitement than usual. The temple's preparing for a big party, actually on the verge of probably a rave. So everybody's moving about. Ryman and Lady Ophelia are kind of, directing all of the different servants and people that work at the temple to set up tables and organize this table of food and that table of food. They're trying to cater to literally everybody because they want literally everybody to come and enjoy themselves. So yeah, they're hanging banners, they're polishing the gold statue, they're making sure that there's coins in the fountain, just a little bit of everything.
Okay. She's currently talking to, she's like organizing all of the gambling tables. So she's got like a team of people following her with, like, they're all like carrying tables and chairs and like tablecloths. And there are a couple of people who look like they're going to be working these. And she's giving directions of, okay, we want the blackjack here, and we want this here, and we want this here. And there's like, it's coordinating it off so that things are kind of grouped and people can easily find what it is they're looking for. There are probably like 10 or 20 different games, maybe more like 12 different games that could be played, games of chance. And that's what she's currently dealing with. And she's like checked in with you periodically throughout the morning. All of the musicians are going to be showing up later. There's a long set list with a variety of music as well. So you're making those preparations. Is there anything in particular that you are overseeing aside from the food that you are like concerned with making sure wanting to go well?
Ryman is kind of new to the whole administrative side of it. He's not really around the temple too much. He has taken it upon himself to make sure that none of the dice are loaded because he figures that's an easy enough thing to do. So yeah, he's basically just rolling die over and over and over, and he feels really accomplished with that. But yeah, he could probably be doing something more important, but he wants to make sure that nothing gets screwed up, and he is not in charge of the temple. That is Madame Ophelia, 100%.
Okay. Why don't you go ahead? How do you think? So he's rolling over and over. How is he watching? Is he like investigating these? Is he kind of like rolling them handfuls at a time, or like one at a time? How many times is he rolling? Is this like a deep search sort of thing? Do you think like it would be more of an investigation check or more of like a perception check for him to see if he notices anything amiss with these dice?
Yeah, it'd probably be investigation more than anything else, because he's doing that. He's also trying to make sure that none of the cards in any of the decks are loaded. He's just trying to check out the games and make sure, because Tamora really is based on chance and fate, and if you screw with that, that's really a slap in the face.
Mm-hmm. Okay, why don't you go ahead and make your investigation check? And I'll say that it's with advantage because you're spending so much time and dedicating so much like attention to this.
All right, that is 16.
Okay. You're going through, you roll the dice seem to be fine, none seem to be loaded. There's like a stack of decks of cards, and they're pretty uniform. In fact, somebody donated these, like a manufacturer, like a craftsman, an artisan donated these to the temple for the party, and so they are like emblazoned with imagery of Timora and worship of chants and coins and stuff like that, and they all have like a shiny gold backing. And you do find, not as part of the original manufacturing, but one of the sets has clearly had some sort of, either someone has just damaged it, or someone has intentionally marked a few of the cards by making like very slight cuts into the imagery on the back, where you could feel an edge along some of the like the images. So you've seen the word image too many times, but it's like the sort of thing that would be difficult to see, but if you were to bend the card or to run your finger along it, you would feel the edge where there wouldn't be one normally. And so there's one deck that you're going to have to remove as a result of this. You should still have enough for the games because the benefactor was incredibly generous and sent far more than you would need for the number of card games that will be played, but that is something that you do notice.
Okay, yeah, he'll just toss that into a nearby brazier and move on then.
Okay. Yeah, you toss it in, and the flames immediately stoke up with the paper and the ink that in the lamination or whatever waxed. I guess I don't know what you would do with cards back then, or in like this sort of setting. The coating it like ignites, and the fire turns a couple of different colors as the inks and the different metals that were used are burnt up, and there's like flashes of purple and blue in the normal red fire, and a few of the like priests in training like stop and kind of look and give you like a quirked eyebrow, like knowing that these were expensive and well made and donated specifically for this event. Everything all right?
Oh yeah, just mind your business.
Of course, absolutely. And they continue on with what they were doing, carrying tables and such. So Gnoss, you've regaled everyone with this tale, and He's looking worried, and even though like he recognizes this has been years, he's like glancing around nervously. Sophie has just answered this question, Lafcadio, and you've had the small exchange, and it's kind of like the conversation. Unless anybody has anything else to say about that in particular, then the conversation kind of settles in that like after that.
I'm just gonna tell you, Heezy, that if that asshole shows up again, I will annihilate him. I swear to you.
Okay, good.
Has Wampum and Graham showed up yet?
Yeah, you all
Who's
walked
Graham?
in.
Oh, sorry. I'm looking at the chat.
Gotcha. You basically, like, the two of you would have been able to open the door and make whatever entrance you intended to make as this woman that you saw speaking to Gnoss earlier says, like, is explaining that she could have helped with something, her organization could have, and then Lafcadio is asked what organization it is, and she's given this sort of kind of like milquetoast answer that was clearly like kind of dodging the question. Yeah, and that's when you all
I think
entered. the scene.
Tazlin struts in there with the biggest go fuck yourself smile he can manage as he walks up and he goes, "Oh, you're talking about the Zentarum."
How close do you get to her when you do that?
He's gonna stay behind Gnoss. He's not he's not an idiot.
Okay. She'd been kind of like doing her like recline on the bar thing, and as you like strut up to her, like obviously with the intention to speak, and you're like having that focused sort of like look to you, her leg just comes up and she puts the bottom of her boot like up where if you take like even the tiniest bit of another step, then her foot's going to press into your chest as you start to speak. So whether or not you walk into it is up to you, but it's there. And she's not like kicking or anything. Like it was a slow gesture, but it was definitely like a stop to stop you.
Tazlin will grin at her and he's just gonna cast a sending spell instead. He's gonna back up and he's just gonna send Gnoss.
Do you still say that out loud? You can.
Oh, no. I think
No?
if she
Okay.
puts a foot up to him, he's just gonna like take a step back and just cast a sending to Gnoss and just say, "She's talking about the Zentarum."
Okay.
All right, yeah, I'll turn around and I'll be like, Sophie, one moment, and I'll turn around to Tazlin, and he's in. You get the immediate impression you're kind of in some deep shit suddenly. Gently, my hand is very tense, but I will gently put it on his shoulder and just say, "Please don't antagonize my friends. I love you, man, but I have known her longer than I have known you."
I suppose I will play nice.
Thank you. Thank you very, very much. Please don't shout that kind of stuff in public.
Noted. Is that the drink Kale ordered for me? You shouldn't have. And I'm gonna just whoop to the drink.
You take a drink and you think he really shouldn't have. Tazlin has a habit of ordering like fancy, nice drinks, and this is not that. This is not that.
Not fancy.
Kale,
No.
once he says you shouldn't have, Kale's just like, I didn't.
I was being facetious, Kale.
And Sophie, like, she kind of like crosses the leg that was up over the other one and puts her other hand kind of like on her hip, and she's like, "Well, I'm glad we settled that."
Sorry, Soph. He's socially challenged. He's from the Shadowfell.
Oh, it's fine. I kind of like it.
Eh? Well, if you're interested, we'll be staying at the Fortune Moon Hall for the next couple of days, I'm sure. I
We'll
mean,
see.
I think he's got a girlfriend, but I think that doesn't necessarily mean it's a closed relationship. It's better to ask.
It's never meant much when I have my sights set on something, but I'll leave it alone.
It's very true. Any hoodly doodle. Easy, I just want to let you know that I'm back in town. Like I just told Sophie here, I will be at the Fortune Boon Hall for, I'm sure, at least a night, maybe two. We'll see what happens.
Maybe I'll close up for a night and make a pilgrimage. He kind of says it with like a laugh. Like he's never like downplayed the place, but he's always kind of like lightly jested at it, like being a temple, but also like gambling and all this other stuff. Like it's very amusing to him.
Do you want to have a party? We can have a party. I'm totally down for a party.
I like parties.
Okay,
So
let's
he's
have
like,
a party.
Yes, that does sound like an interesting time. It has been so dreadfully dull here.
All right, well, I guess come around, let's see, noon. Is it noon? Wait, what time is it? What time is it? Is it noon yet?
I have the impression that you all got up early and left, so it's like 10 a.m. Like,
Well, if I can convince the rest of the people at the hall, we might do a good old-fashioned celebration, steak celebration. In which case, show up by noon, no later.
noted. Sophie's like, I think I have time. I can pencil you all in.
Fantastic. All right, I guess we better be on our way then. We got like gods to kill now and stuff. Long story. I'll tell you later.
Such important work. See you. And she like, as you all do get up and leave after whatever else you might say, she definitely like waves to you as you leave Taslin, but not in like a nice way, in like a bye.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if anyone watches like Avatar: The Last Airbender, but there's one classic Sokka scene when they walks out. He's like, "Waterside," like throws like a gang symbol. I think Taslin's just like,
Watching you.
Yeah.
I love it. All right. Yeah. Go ahead.
I just throw back the rest of my milk.
Yeah. He's like, well, see if I can stop by. And he starts like picking up empty glasses and stuff like that. And he's like tossing them in a bin, like he's not immediately cleaning them.
I will take that opportunity while his head is down to literally pick him up by the back of the shirt and lift him up and give him a big old hug.
Literally just like
I
a child.
missed you, man.
Oh, miss you too. Glad you're alive again.
I'm glad I'm alive too. Then put him back down. All right, stay
He
cool.
kind of like fixes his clothes and like looks around to see if anyone in the like background has like given him a sly look for being like manhandled like that.
If anybody
kinda-
does, I'll make him flinch. I'll step two.
Yeah, when you turn around, you do see that the people playing cards when you first walked in, that person that had like stabbed the knife in the table, whatever argument had been going on had died down, and he was kind of like chuckling at the two of you. He catches the expression on your face, and he's like,
I will eat you, motherfucker! All right. Sophie, nice to see you again. I'll give her a kiss on nice little kiss on the cheek, and then I'll turn around and start to go.
pleasure's yours as always. Do you try to survive?
Yeah. You too.
So you make your way out.
Casey,
Yeah.
Katie, can I roll an insight check on
Sure.
that wave? I mean, I know that's like not a friendly wave, but I mean, like,
Oh, yeah.
is it like a coming for you? Like it's on?
Gotcha. Roll your insight.
It's okay. That's a 17. That's higher than it usually is.
It looked playfully antagonistic. Not
Okay.
like she's like, she doesn't suddenly have like she's not like glaring daggers. It isn't
Right,
like
right.
I'm coming for you. It's more like
Yeah.
like
It's a bit of give and
feels
take.
like, yeah, exactly. Like she feels like she came out on top in that sort of like struggle of power because Gnoss stepped in and was like, old friends don't mess with. And so she had kind of been like sitting back with a sly grin, like I didn't even have to try kind of thing. And so she's like, bye.
For her,
Yeah.
now I know her name and I can send her whenever I want.
That's true.
3 a.m. and you're asleep? How about a sending spell?
I love that this is Taslin's way of antagonizing people. Perfect. So, where are you heading, Gnoss?
To Fortune Boon!
To Fortune Boon.
At last!
At long last. It is a little bit across town. How long do you think it's going to take you to get there based on what you remember?
If we're down by the docks now, I want to say 45 minutes of a walk
Okay.
through the main thoroughfare.
Are you puffing up again?
Oh, heck yeah.
Okay.
This
So
has
Gnoss-
become like a persona I have donned since I have come here.
Yeah. go ahead and make another intimidation check with advantage this time, because it's been working so successful for you so far and everything's gone relatively well. You feel pretty confident.
26.
Nice. So where before you can all see that is like Gnoss is cutting a path in whichever direction she chooses. People were partying and people continue to party as they did before, but there's almost like you can see the distance at which people pay attention around them, because about 6 or 7 feet away, there is always this sort of like notice of presence and immediate separation. Whereas before it seemed a little bit more natural, like that's a big person I'm getting out of the way of. This is like you can just see people as you're walking kind of go, like absolutely not dealing with whatever it is that's going on here. And it's again, like if you were so inclined, it would be like pretty impressive that this person just like walks into this big bustling city full of people who have their own perceived levels of importance, and it's obviously just like superimposing their will on everyone as they make their way through. If there's anything you would like to do on the way, anyone, let me know now, and if not, we'll just cut to arriving at the place.
Taz would like to ask Gnoss about kind of the town itself and like any information or tidbits she wants to share.
Well, it's a free port. It's a free city, which means it's not under any kind of like immediate jurisdiction of any larger governments. It runs itself, and mostly who runs it are the heads of the various factions. The temples, respectively, each themselves, all have their own degree of control, and then there are factions like I don't know who's around anymore. It's very chaotic, and the rise and fall of organizations. The Zens have always had a foothold here, for sure. But there's also been, Umberly is a big deal. I think the Lathander has recently become a big deal. Leviatar is a big deal. There used to be rumors, and I don't know how correct these rumors are, but there had been rumors of a faction full of vampires.
How delightful. And what was the name? I'll hush my voice as we're walking. I'll walk up closer. What was the name of the person that caused you to leave this place? I know you've mentioned it once before, but I've forgotten.
Angwin Cole!
Angwin Cole. Perfect. I will keep it in my head to look out for anyone named Angwin Cole.
He's a half-elf.
Let you know.
He had long gray hair. He wore all black like assassins do, but he had a hood and a face mask as well. So he looked kind of like a monk type assassin situation. So but he kept his hair out like he was proud of it. What?
Are those the prerequisites to become an assassin? Wear black, have a hood, and have a mask?
I don't know. I think
because I have a hood. I'm wearing black.
Don't you think that it would be tactically wise if you were hunting around in the dark to also be dark?
I mean, that's fair, but I also have a ring of invisibility.
Okay. My dick is still bigger than yours.
Fair. But
anything else?
Any other friends that we should be on the lookout for?
Everybody.
Everybody. Perfect.
I don't know how much the city has changed in the 5 years.
Well, I meant your friends. I mean, we've met 2 of them.
There are more.
Okay.
I used to have it's not like I actually had my own posse or anything, but I knew a good many people.
Posse.
No, because they weren't all connected within themselves. It's kind of like I knew a little bit of everybody as far as the organizations and factions went.
See,
but I was never part of anything other than the Timoran Temple.
Okay. Well, you don't really talk about your time here that often, so.
Yeah, it's like, why would I? I mean, nobody cares, so.
I mean, where you're from is just as important as who you are. You think people look at me and go, "Oh, yes, that person's not from the Shadowfell. I can't sum them up in 3 words."
I cannot sum you up in 3 words. Is that what I'm supposed to think?
No, but people that don't know me probably could.
Well, that's a narrow-minded perspective. We try not to do that.
That's true. Well, I hope this will be a fun. We're having a party? Is that the plan?
Now we are, for sure.
Well, I will keep all of my party tricks for the party then.
Excellent.
Don't you worry. And then I'll back away and I'll shoot prestidigitation fireworks out of my fingers, like finger gunning as I go.
Pew 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 pew.
And then I'll just be like, party tricks.
Oh, I did want to ask y'all. There is the opportunity. The Timoran Temple has a ton of wealth within it. It is entirely possible that you can use it as a bank. I intend to.
That would be nice. I do have a lot of stuff.
Right.
Oh, here. And I'll toss Gnoss a... Oh, I don't have a type of jewelry that rhymes with it. But anyways, one of the pieces of jewelry that I bought earlier, I'll toss her one.
Thanks! Shiny.
That's all I had. I just can't fit any more in my ear.
I like shiny. Shiny's good.
It is. It has a way of attracting the eye. Are we there yet?
Speaking of shiny, yeah, you're not there yet, no. But you do notice the different sections of the city falling away as you're all progressing, and when you do, kind of see your destination in the distance, and I don't think Minnie would know which it was, except maybe Lefcadio and Gnoss, and perhaps maybe Wampum. But I will let Ryman describe what they see as they're approaching the temple.
Right. So Fortune Boon Hall, I like to think, is, in my mind, it's similar to like the Parthenon. It has a lot of columns. It has that domed roof. So as they're approaching, they're going to notice, pretty much stone, kind of marble-esque structure. It's going to have these long banners of purple and gold outside. Imagine there's kind of a crowd starting to form. As the entrance opens up, you actually see a massive gold statue of Tamora, which is lit by a hole in the dome, an oculus, that spreads light directly downwards and kind of makes the gold just really opulent. And at the feet of the statue is a fountain, which then extends into a larger, longer pool of water. And, when you go inside, there's braziers everywhere. The tables are getting set up. Some of the performers are starting to warm up at this time. So I think that, especially if it's getting to be noon, this is the point when Ryman does his daily prayer, which for him involves tossing a coin into the fountain. The fountain, actually, the entire bottom of it is lined with gold coins. It almost looks like if you stuck your hand in, you'd immediately be wealthy. So he tosses a coin in and does his daily prayer to Tamora. He prays for the fortune of Westgate. He prays for luck to those that he loves, and he prays specifically for Gnoss. And he prays that Gnoss is well. He prays that she is fortunate in all that she does, that she's successful in all that she does, and that Tymora specifically watches over her.
You said that the fountain is under an oculus inside the temple. Is it behind walls, or is this sort of like open air, like that more Greek style where there's like an inner building and this is outdoors, or do you believe this would be inside?
I think that there's like it has a roof over it, but this specific area almost has columns lining the wall, and then there's, as you go further back, that's where the what do you call it, the rooms where the people actually stay, and the vault where they keep the actual wealth and everything.
So this is like the open aired front, and there is an enclosed space further back, but this is columns, roof, air.
Right. This is the public area. It's for anybody. Westgate specifically has a lot of gamblers. It has a lot of risk takers. So the Temple of Tamora is open to all of them if they need a little bit of extra, boost to their fate, they're more than welcome to come and express whatever kind of desires they want.
Okay. Is his prayer out loud or is it internal?
It's always internal.
Internal. Okay. So, you, Gnoss, and everyone behind her are approaching the temple, and you see in front of, the grand marble and stone structure and these sweeping columns that are really impressive, and this beautifully top-lit golden statue of like a happy looking woman. And you see a man standing, or in front of it, don't know if you're standing or you're kneeling, who has placed a coin in the fountain and looks to be stepping back as if like some sort of task or ritual has been completed. Would you like to describe yourself as well?
Sure. Oh, and actually, I meant to mention the domed roof is gold, so it actually from above almost appears to be like a golden coin. Sorry, that was the last thing. Yeah, Ryman is human male. He is in his early 50s, but has had a life, a lot on the road, a lot of fighting in it. So he's probably a little older than he looks. He's grayed a little bit earlier, but physically he hasn't really let himself go the way that a lot of people do. It definitely is a struggle at this point in his life, so he's probably a little more overweight than he'd like to be, but the armor still fits, and he hasn't died in battle yet, so he's calling that a win. Yeah, as of right now, he's not fully decked out in what would be his traditional full plate, but he does have, a little bit of more ceremonial armor on that features some cloth of like the purple and gold.
Okay. And that's who you see.
I'ma just shout, Dad!
And he's going to turn and just face drops, then rises, and he's just going to run as fast as he can.
I run too, and it's like boom, 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 boom.
And just full-on tackle hug.
Throw my arms around his neck, and I just bury my face into his ceremonial armor.
Gnoss, is it really you?
I mean, yeah, you can pinch me. I'm here.
I might.
Go for it.
What are you doing? It's been 5 years.
Yeah. Yes. We should not have that conversation right here in the open.
Okay.
If there's a place we can go to discuss what I'm doing here and what it all has to do with everything, that would be best.
No, of course. Yeah. Later. You are just in time. This is, speaking of fortune and luck, you have come at the perfect time. We're having a celebration tomorrow. Today.
I wanted to have a party too!
We're having a party.
Thanks, Ma!
I can't. This is. Tomorrow. Her will. Who knows? Yeah, having. A blowout, I guess you could call it. It's going to be starting here relatively soon. We'll probably go until dawn.
Fantastic. Yes, I'm so ready for something like this. You don't even know.
And you brought your friends!
Yeah! You remember Kale, Lefcadio, Wampum, Tazlin?
I do, of course. Masters, welcome.
We should probably bathe before party. Bathe before party.
Yeah, you do seem to have some of the road stuck to you. Your room's in the same place it was. You're more than welcome to help yourself to the baths and clean clothes, whatever you'd like. This place is your home for as long as you'd like it. It always has been.
Thanks, Dad. I'm gonna go do that. Y'all do whatever you want. This is a free town and a free temple. So, catch you in a minute.
Yeah, would you like anything to drink? Any food? Gambling?
Uh-huh.
Please help yourself. We have an open bar. There's the vegetarian table, the vegan table, the meat table, the extra meat table, the alcohol table. Yeah, help yourself.
And you do all notice that the sort of like golden light that's created through the oculus in the middle of this gold dome has kind of like cast this. It's almost like the aura of wealth on the place as it has all of this like golden glow to it. There are gymnasts stretching. There are belly dancers who are like beginning like a bit of like practicing routines. It looks like there are fire breathers and sword swallowers. There is a band like off on like a raised platform that looks like it's erected temporarily or like perhaps has moved around for occasions such as this. That is starting to like tune their instruments, like retune when you get back on stage sort of thing. Like they're not like fresh tuning, it's more like fine tuning. There are several tables, people are shuffling cards, there's like dice being set out, there are chips that are being stacked. It looks like this is going to be a massive shindig, and you're probably going to be able to find pretty much anything you're looking for. And as like this conversation is sort of like ending and Raymond's doing this like whatever, you know, all the light touches is yours kind of thing. This woman, she like steps out from the other side of the fountain. I have the wrong notes up. Blip, blip, blip. She is robed in these very finely crafted purple robes. There's gold trim on them. If you look closely enough, you can see that much of the trim does have like the symbology of Timora, and then they're just like large round like coins, it looks like almost in amongst the trim. She's got large brown eyes, and shoulder length like light brown curly hair. There's streaks of gray along the one side. She just looks like she's got a pleasant look on her face. And she looks at all of you, but specifically at Gnoss, who's just walked away, and I don't know why. I missed that. And she says, the prodigal child has returned. And I guess we'll wait for Gnoss's response. That's when we'll go to break. And we'll come back there in just a second, well, in a couple of minutes, with the response to that. Holding on while we got situated and took a break. Appreciate you all for hanging out with us today. I wanted to thank Fool and Callan for their bits. Thank you so much for your support, and I'm sure everybody appreciates roles and such. So thanks passed along from everyone as well, of course. And then we have a few words before we jump back into things.
Yes, before we get back to the stream, I want to give a special thanks to our sponsors at Campaign Coins. They are great human beings who make really great metal coins and other RPG accessories. You can check them out at campaigncoins.com and on Twitter at campaigncoins. If you want to be a member of our community, you can join our Discord. Link is in chat. If you are a subscriber to the channel or a Patreon, which you saw the commercial for during the break, then you get special perks when you join the Discord. Lastly, if you want to be up to date on our announcements and anything else going on with the channel or the community, be sure to follow us on Twitter, and that will make sure you don't miss a thing that's open for adventure on the Twitter. Also, link in chat. Messages done.
Message will self-destruct in 5, 4. Just kidding. And also thanks to Derek for coming and hanging out with us today and playing with us.
Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Yeah. No. Thank you.
No, shush.
Okay.
Thank you. Shush.
Now don't start that again. Thank you for getting the reference. So, what happened before your expeditious retreat, Gnoss, was a woman, I don't know how much you heard, stepped out from the other side of the fountain. It's large. It's not like she was hiding or anything. She was just like on the other side and like noticed the commotion. She has sort of like shoulder length, curly light brown hair. There's streaks of gray in it, more so than you might have remembered from last time. She's got these large brown eyes. She's like somehow remarkably like doe-eyed looking, but also has like this very sort of like sly look to her features. Like there's like the look of innocence is something that isn't necessarily like reflective of her actual nature. And she leans over and she looks at you as you're like almost making this beeline to go take your bath, and is like, "Oh, the prodigal child has returned."
What? Madam Ophelia! Oh my God! And I'll come over and do the same with the throwing around of the neck and the bearing of the face.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you smell so good.
"I thank you. I'm trying something new. I thought I'd add the bergamot to the rose and see if it went over well. Do you agree?"
I think so.
"Good. I can have some scent for after your bath if you'd like. I know you've not always necessarily been a fan of such things."
Oh, no, hells yeah. Hells
Okay.
yeah. Please. I would be most appreciative, yes.
Lovely.
I was gonna go do that and kind of get myself situated here. I know the party's about to start, so I'll be ready by then, but I need to talk to you and Dad about something semi-important when you have a moment.
We'll hold off until you're all ready. And she kind of like gestures. I don't think does she know who your compatriots are?
No.
No? Okay, so, but it's like this crowd of people that are like standing all together, and she kind of is like, "We'll wait until you're all ready to get started. We'll open, make sure everything transitions smoothly, and then I'm sure we can find a moment to hide away."
Okay. All right. Oh, sorry. Madam Ophelia. These are my friends. Kale Irvine, Cadio Whitehorn, Taz Evrio, Wop Thunderbelly of the famous Thunderbelly Ale.
Oh, I have heard of that ale. It's quite delicious. A little bit of a kick in the end.
Peaches, right? It's peaches.
Aye, peaches, and as it should kick.
But it's a pleasant kick. Sometimes a little bit of a kick can be nice.
I will make sure that your staff never runs out.
That is so wonderful of you. You're so generous.
Do you know what you're getting into, Wampum? There. I'm sure you do. I won't question it. So, Madam Ophelia, Wampum here is it fair to say chosen of Moradin? Wampum?
He has made me part of his Selenar.
Wow. That is quite the title. You have made some interesting friends, Gnoss.
That's not all. Lafcadio here is of Nobanian in the same manner. And Kale here is of Denier in the same manner. Pretty sure Tazlin is of the Raven Queen as well, but he didn't want to be, so it's a little complicated right now.
I could see how such associations might not be one's personal choice.
Mm.
But it is always nice to have a deity behind you. It's made some very interesting and seemingly important friends. I would have welcomed you all, despite, or I should say, if that wasn't common knowledge, or perhaps just knowledge at all, but especially knowing that you are favored among the Pantheon. Even though I might be less familiar with some, she glances at Lafcadio. Certainly, you would have had a place here as Gnoss's chosen family, regardless, but now as especially honored guests.
You speak of that bath. We do need to wash the road off as...
Well, there was a bath in the mansion. Did you not use it?
No, I was too busy drinking.
Well, that is... Yeah. That does make sense.
She looks over at Raymond and kind of laughs, and she just raises one arm up, and the long train of their flowing sleeve kind of like shifts a bit, and you can see that the fabric is almost reflective and metallic in some places itself. And just with one hand up, two people appear behind her. They're wearing similar purple and gold themed clothing. They don't look like they're wearing anything necessarily quite as like ostentatious, but it's certainly still like the appearance of like fine, like moneyed sort of like clothing. Why am I struggling with the words clothing right now? I don't know. Anyway, and they just kind of like appear behind her and look attentively, and she says, "Baths for each, whatever scents they prefer. Softest towels you can find. Mean cheese tray with some grapes and some wine.
No wine.
No wine for that one."
Pacing yourself. That's smart. Yeah. It's a marathon, this party, not a sprint.
You will have to make it to the morning if you want to have the full experience, so that is something to consider. And the first two are like kind of like standing attentively looking at the rest of the group now. And she kind of like moves to kind of stand closer to Raymond, just as like standing back next to him to see what the rest of you all do. And a few more people kind of like trickle in behind the original two people that showed up when she just kind of like beckoned slightly. And they look like they're like maybe attendants or they're planning to attend you, depending upon what you do. And there's like a few whispers between them. So they all are on the same page.
Y'all good? Y'all gonna be good?
Hey.
All right. No need to serve on me or anything like that. I've got my own stuff.
I know that's not your style. But somebody will bring some perfume for you.
Well, that's sweet. I will thank them when that happens. All right, I'm gonna go.
And the
Bye, Dad. I'll see you later.
Wampum will go take his bath. He will change into his silk tunic, and then he will put in his new jewelry.
Okay. Like each of you are basically like paired off with an attendant who takes you to a very nice like bathing room. They're all private, so you essentially get like your own tub, freshly heated water to the temperature you desire. There's the option for like various petals from different flowers to be placed in the bath with you. The option to have like milk in your bath is also present. Basically, it's like this is like the equivalent of a very fine inn that would be catering to moneyed individuals. This entire temple is gorgeous, well decorated, beautifully constructed. The presence of money is very apparent. Every time that Gnoss has mentioned this place is rich, she's obviously been speaking true. And these do seem to be like maybe for honored guests. Maybe this is how it normally is. Unless you've stayed here before, you're not sure. But this is nicer than any roadside inn you've ever stayed in by far. So you all get cleaned up. Is there anything special you'd like to do before heading back out?
Who has Iskar at the moment?
Where's Iskar?
That is a good question.
I'm happy to have
Okay.
kept him.
Okay.
That's fair.
Unless otherwise, yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Fair Iskar chilling on the edge of the bath. Okay.
Give him a nose boop every once in a while. Get it covered in suds. Like you gotta bathe too.
Kill's gonna like just be very cordial about, being led to a bathing room or whatever, being waited on, but he's very clearly uncomfortable with it. And when they get into the room, he's just gonna be like, "All right, I'm good. You can leave."
Yeah, none of them stay in there with you. It's more like they're showing you all of the options, asking if you need anything else. And they like point out your different like bath options. Essentially, it's like lush in here. You got like a bath bomb. You can have like a milk bar. Basically, like that's what they're there for. And then they're like, need anything? And then they split like when you're ready to go. So it's not like you have people like standing over you while you're bathing. To clarify,
If they got incense, I'll take some incense, and it doesn't matter what scent it is, but just free incense would be great.
Yeah, you mentioned that you would like incense. And your attendant, who is like a young blonde blonde boy who's like, I say boy, he's probably like a late teenager. He's human. It's kind of hard to tell with humans sometimes whether they're like 17 or 22, you know. But he's like that around that age, and he is kind of like, oh, of course, and he leaves. He comes back with like the incense burner. There's like the stick incense and the burner where you like place the stick in the end of something and the ashes fall down. But there's an entire bundle of the incense, and it's like eucalyptus scented.
Okay, yeah, okay, thank you. And then when he leaves, I'll just take just the incense and set the burner aside.
I love it.
Just drop it in my bag of holding. And then Kale doesn't get undressed or bathe or anything. He just takes a rock out of his bag that's got like some stuff etched into it, some thimbles, and he just rubs it between his hands, and it's a cleansing stone, and like all the dirt and grime just kind of comes off him.
Nice.
And then he just, I guess, will just sit in that room for a while. I don't know, and read or look at his drift globe and think about it.
Okay, make a religion check.
13? What's my modifier?
Probably decent.
Oh, yeah, I'm proficient in that. Makes sense. 24.
24. Have you ever learned a new language?
Yes.
So when you're starting out learning a new language and you've gotten to the point where you're like pretty recognizing like symbols if it has like a new alphabet, like if like Cyrillic alphabet sort of thing, and you've gotten over that like, oh, well, it's P in this language and R in this language, so I just have to remember that kind of like stages of things. And now you've gotten to the point where you're like building vocabulary and sentence structure, and so you look and some things seem familiar and you can easily recognize them, but there are still a few things that you will have to like stop and go back to the dictionary and look up. That's kind of how you feel as you're sitting and you're like contemplating the drift globe and the scene that you see inside and everything you experienced in the last day. It's like you're slowly picking up pieces of this, but the larger context is still beyond understanding. But for some reason, despite how you may like think, how you may feel internally about that, there's like a sense of calm to the experience as you're doing it.
Cool. It's like taking like a warm bath with like rose petals and milk and stuff, but
yeah,
you don't actually have to do it, so that's nice.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Anything? If there's nothing else special anyone would like to do, then
I do dive in and I get all wet and mottled in all my furriness, but then I pull out the finger gun and prestidigitate like a hairdryer. That's it.
I love it.
Very fluffy now.
Yes, especially fluffy. When you all do.
It's like that scene in the cartoon Beauty and the Beast where he just shakes all the water and
and then he's like,
yeah. Especially the mane. It's like extra shiny, and there's like a poof to the pump of the part in the front, how it like always raises up and stuff. Suddenly, I'm struggling with my words. Anyway, so you are all able to, exit as you so choose. Is anybody going to hang back and miss the opening, or does everybody intend to come back and like meet back up with everyone else? You all kind of went to the same rough area. So is anyone planning not to attend this sort of like kickoff to the event?
Like, no. How much time did we have before it kicked off?
They said they would wait for you all. So if it came to a point where like everybody else was finished, it was past noon, far enough that they were really wanting to get started, and somebody wasn't finished, then they would like your attendant is going to knock on your door and ask if you need more time and like say that they're ready whenever you are, kind of thing.
What? No, you go.
I wanted to put on the record before Kale goes out to go to the thing, he cast Death Ward on himself at some point because there was talk of assassinations. So
cool. Probably wise.
Gotcha. Fair. Okay.
I just wanted to mention that when I do eventually come out and get seen, Gnoss is looking pretty friggin' fantastic. She's got her hair down and it's in its long curls and stuff, the big waves, and it's lush dark auburn color that it has the dirt all washed away, and it's very shiny. And then as far as her choice of clothes go, she's now wearing a white sari dress that is trimmed with gold. She's still got her Cape of the Mountain Make on over it, but it's looking pretty like typical. Like, okay, yeah, that's an angel.
I love it. I love it.
Makes sense now. Yeah.
And you would have easily been able to ask somebody to like prestidigitate clean the cape, so any sort of like dust from the road would be off of it, so it would be adding to the appearance wholly and not detracting from the aesthetic at all.
Cool, perfect. And then her shoes are flat-footed sandals with the ribbons tied up around her calves and stuff.
I love it. And if you stand close enough, you do catch hints of rose and bergamot. Yeah. From Gnoss.
It's just there.
Yeah, it's just there. Raymond, how would you like to... Is there anything special that you all have planned to sort of like kick off the event?
I think that the most important thing is to make sure that everybody has a drink in hand, and then he is going to stand at the foot of the statue and address the huddled masses, and kind of shouting over the murmur of the crowd, he's going to say, Timora has always blessed Westgate. She, the Lady of Luck, has always given her fortune to this city and its people. It's time we gave a little bit back and had a good time while doing it. Everyone, help yourselves to whatever you see. Tonight is for the Golden Goddess.
Yeah, there's raucous cheers from the audience. There's clapping. Several people are like whooping. A few people are yelling from full mouths where they're already or still at a table and they've got like a ham, like just like a big piece of ham in their mouth, and they're like, there's like clinking of glasses, and there are the walls are filled with people. Would the people be allowed inside the like structure of the building too, or are they confined to the open area, Raymond?
The open area is really where the party and everything is going on. The back structures are more for the people that actually serve at the temple. It's private rooms, and then, like I said, the vault's back there. So those are probably they at least have somebody standing at the door to make sure, like, oh, sorry, that's not the bathroom. That's not for the public.
Okay, yeah, the newer initiates are having to spend their time like trading off their shifts, missing bits of the party as they kind of form this sort of like line in front of that entryway and are kind of like kindly shooing people away from it. And you do have your people that you typically work with, your like regiment sort of thing. They can be positioned and have shifts as well, or would they be kind of like out and about and enjoying the party and then like ready if they need to be, or do you plan on having like hired people in case there's like a security concern?
So the Followers of Free Fate, unfortunately, doesn't have as many members as it used to. The senior members that do still serve, they've been given the night off. The younger ones, especially the newer recruits, they're kind of posted at different corners. They're just kind of keeping an eye on stuff. It's supposed to be a party that gets a little out of hand, so it's not like they're, even if a small fight happens, they're probably not going to break it up, but it's just to make sure that, nobody actually dies. Okay. Traditionally, they're probably going to be on the cleric side. They're going to be at least paladins that have the lay on hands ability, so if somebody does, break an arm or something, they can heal a little bit, but pop something back into place.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. Yes, and these do tend to get a little raucous, but in general, you don't find because the atmosphere is so full of mirth. There aren't usually disturbances that cause like concern. Essentially, like there's not usually like terrible fights where like someone is really seriously wounded. It's more like somebody's drunk and they have like a minor quarrel and then they trip and fall and hurt themselves, kind of thing, because the atmosphere is too jovial. For like that's kind of like bad blood, and everyone's like having a good time, and it's like worship for them too. So it's almost like sacred good time.
Yeah, there is a wrestling pit that's kind of just like, oh, here, watch this fight and don't start a fight of your own. But it's a family event. There's stuff for the kids. There's like a little table for hermit crab racing where the kids can place bets. They have a little color wheel they spin.
I love it.
They get chocolate gold coins. That's what they, yeah, that way.
That's so perfect. Yeah, several games of chance. There's also like face painting places for the children where both they can take turns painting each other's faces, and there's like a professional or a group of professionals that have been hired to kind of like help decorate them. And adults could come and do that as well. It is usually like there's a crowd of children around. There's storytellers that have some like people with the thaumaturgical inclination who, as the story is being told, are making like minor illusion images of it and little like firework crackly things and sounds and rushes of wind to like enhance the storytelling. And that's something too that even sort of like some of the more like intoxicated adults who like need to like sit and chill for a minute will go and like sit in the back of the storytelling and kind of like ooh and all along with it.
I love this one.
Yeah, exactly. This is a good one. They're saying is they're like elbowing like a 7-year-old and they're like, okay. And just like mixed in and out of the crowd are, like I said, the belly dancers. There are gymnasts performing feats. There are people on aerial silks that have been established on like a scaffolding, so it's not attached to the actual temple. There are fire breathers who are, of course, like not breathing fire at people, but are there to be like a spectacle, and like sword swallowers, and it's just like generally a big crazy party.
For sure, yeah. In addition, there's I like to think that there's a table where people are doing that knife around your fingers kind of game.
Fillet?
Yeah. Anything that has like a sense of chance to it. There's a dartboard where people are kind of like, walking in front of it, trying not to get hit. There's axe throwing on either sides of the fountain. There's 2 jugglers. One of them is juggling knives, the other one torches, and then they juggle them at each other. Yeah, like I said, there's the wrestling pit. There's a tiger walking around with a halfling riding on it. Yeah, it's a little bit of everything.
Tiger seems pretty chill. Anytime you happen to observe them in any capacity.
Yeah, tiger's super chill. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's a beautiful blonde tiger too, just absolutely gorgeous.
While the party is going on, I'll make my way over to Kale. Say, like I haven't spent a lot of time in many other faiths, temples. I mean, I've been in the one that you make with regularity, out of magic, and then the one we were just at. Are they all like this? This seems a bit much. Like they. It's an interesting priority that they invest in here. Mm-hmm. Is this normal?
Well, places of worship usually tend to reflect the deity being worshipped, right? So temples to Timora or Sune or something like that, they're more dedicated to beauty and life and stuff than to the solemnity you would find at a library for Denier.
I feel like I can't help myself. I don't want to be judging them harshly, mm-hmm. but it seems wasteful. Like they could have done so many better things with all of these resources. And I feel bad because Gnoss is great and she's obviously putting her life on the line all the time, but it's weird, right?
Weird, I don't know. That's a matter of perspective, I think. It's normal for them, right? But you make a cogent point. I will say, if you want to maybe just feel a little bit better about it yourself, I don't think anybody's stopping you from taking as much as you want and just kind of tossing it into the streets or doing whatever you feel would be right with it. But yeah, I get what you're saying. This is a lot of wealth concentrated into one place. It could be spread around, but Westgate, it's not the type of place where there's really like rules and laws and a government and stuff to distribute this type of wealth back out to people that maybe need it. You know, just everything about this city's weird. It's very different from most places. I would like to ask though, are there no temples to Nabanian anywhere?
Not really. It's all, trees and fields.
All right, I was just curious. I know we're pretty, closer than we've ever been since the two of us have met back, closer to Gothamir. Do you have any plans on stopping by there maybe soon, as long as we're here?
Nah, that life has nothing for me.
Fair enough. Does that have anything to do with the time you spent in the Feywild, not here?
No, I've the folks back at the my kin, they have other concerns, much more worldly than the bigger picture.
Mm-hmm.
At least it seemed rather petty to me, to be honest. So that's why I'd rather not go back.
Oh, all right, fair enough. I won't pry any deeper. We're at a party. You should, go party.
You enjoy yourself as well.
Sure, thank you.
I think Ryman's going to notice that these two are kind of like sitting aside, and he'll go, "Gentlemen, please help yourselves to the tables. Don't forget, a single copper returns tenfold in gold."
Of course. Thank you. I will maybe do that later.
What's your game? Dice, cards?
I don't
Perhaps?
really. I'm not a big gamer.
It's fair. You tend to do the more risky stuff. You want to do blindfolded archery?
I absolutely do not want to do blindfolded archery.
Okay then. All right. Well,
Yeah, I'm good. Just here on my perch. I like to take in the sights so that I can record them. Not just the sights, but the sounds and the smells and the feelings. There's a certain energy to a room with a party like this.
oh, it's important.
That's
Yeah.
difficult to describe, and I seek to describe it so that I can, add it to my notebook here. And he holds up his blue notebook that Gnoss gave him. Just for the sake of record keeping and information and knowledge spreading and stuff for others.
Well, everything about tonight's having fun. If that's how you have fun, then please enjoy yourself.
I will. Thank you.
Is there anything in particular that interests anyone that they would like to go and check out?
I'm in the background of everything, literally wrestling with the tiger.
I love it. Yeah, as Kale and Lefcadio, you're having this conversation, there's a roar sound, and there's a tiger about, and so your heads follow the sound of the roar, and it's doing that sort of playful thing that a cat will do. That's she's got it in a almost what would be a headlock, but it's clearly playful playing, and it's roaring, but it's batting at her more than anything, and its tongue is out and it's trying to lick at her. So it was a chittery roar sound that was loud, but it wasn't aggressive or anything. So there's literally go ahead.
And then I'll grab the halfling that's standing by and do the exact same thing to him.
Oh, I love it. Let's see here. Yeah. So you hear, "No, I hate it when you do that. You know that." As this halfling fellow is lifted up and is thrown into the fray, essentially, as Gnoss just kind of bodily picks them up, and they're trying to wiggle their way out from between Gnoss and this tiger, whose name you don't know.
Love Nichols!
He's just impotently trapped. And
What
it's
is
really
everybody
fun.
else doing?
I think Taslin is cradling a goblet of wine, and he's kind of keeping an eye out for any danger. Probably also keeping an eye out for Sophie, for a chance to secretly antagonize. But also, he's keeping an eye on Gnoss and on her father, and the rest of the group. I think he's just like sitting there at the storytelling, just like it's totally out of place. Just like with this glass of wine, just like.
Looking slightly morose, maybe. No,
Yeah.
go ahead and make a perception check as you keep an eye out.
Okay.
Do you feel like this is what you're going to spend a little bit of time doing, Raymond, is kind of like walking around and making sure that everyone is having a good time, or maybe like doting father looking after Gnoss's friends at first? Or do you think that you've got like your list of duties you're attending to and you're going to like make your rounds as needed?
I think probably his first priority was making sure that Gnoss's friends were attended to. Considering the last time he saw him, it wasn't under super great circumstances. But he knows that they're important to her. She's important to him. So as long as they've been attended to, he'll look and see. He's made sure that Kayla's taken care of. I imagine Wampum is probably tucked into whatever ale and food he's found nearby. So Taslin, you're watching his show, so he'll figure that's good. And Lafcadio, I guess, yeah, he's at least addressed them. So
Okay.
after that, I think he's just kind of going around and just checking to make sure that things are going well. He's encouraging people to gamble and enjoy, and kind of just nudging people. I kind of think he's maybe like local minister, like a little overly friendly with people. But it's open to the city, so he's also making sure that people have their fill. There definitely are poor in Westgate, and there's open tables of food. He's making sure that there's plenty of food for everybody, and just checking it every now and then.
Over enthusiastic middle-aged youth pastor kind of vibe, like
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I'm glad everybody's like, yes, we know exactly what you're talking about.
You having fun?
Remember,
Whips out an
Zamora.
acoustic guitar.
Yeah, God, yeah.
Fortune favors the bold, am I right? This is a good story.
Yes, Mr. What is your last name again? Olin?
Valero.
Yes, Mr. Olero.
How have you praised Timora today?
Later on, I'll pull up the acoustic guitar. We'll have a little sing-along.
Never
Yeah.
made some lesson.
I told you to call me Raymond. But so Taslin, you're taking a look around. There's general like
And
jovial.
Taslin isn't armed. I probably should have mentioned that. I think Taslin is just wearing like a simple like dressy outfit, and he left his quarterstaff in his wherever room he's staying, and he has his component pouch, and he has his bag of holding, and that's pretty much it. He's got the seashell necklace from the Feywild. He probably took that out of the bag and put that on.
Okay. So you're sitting there, and they would have brought you clothing if you didn't have anything that you wanted to wear or that would have fit the situation. I think you mentioned that. So you, if they brought it to you, it would be purple and gold.
I'll rock it.
Okay. Yeah. So you're taking a look around. You're kind of taking in the environment. A lot of just like jovial people, very, very mirthful atmosphere. Everybody seems to be having fun. There's like loud shouts. People are oohing and awing at the fire breather. Somebody's winning at the blackjack table, and they rake in the chips, and you can hear like the clanking of it. And you see them like tossing out chips to people, and like haha, I won, here, let's all share around kind of thing. And you do notice, and you don't know like if you're just noticing them for the first time and they were already there, or if this was essentially them making their entrance. But Heezy and Sophie arrive sort of like at the same time, like they walked there together, but not as if they're like arriving together. And she's changed into this like deep emerald like evening gown almost is what it kind of looks like. There's like obviously like crystals set into it and like tiny bits of it, so the entire thing is very sparkly. It's very like making an appearance, so it would have been kind of hard to miss her, but you're looking specifically, so you notice her a little bit before anybody else does. It's like very finely tailored. It's meant to accentuate. So she's like very much in that sort of like not gaudy, but like noticeable evening attire. And then there's Heezy next to her in like clean black clothing. As they like walk up together, and he's looking around. He looks like he's excited, but maybe a little bit nervous. And she just looks like she's walking in ready to own the place.
I'm not going to approach them. I'm just
Okay.
keeping tabs.
All right,
If Tazza doesn't make the first move, people can come to him.
gotcha.
He's enjoying this puppet show.
Yeah. They're doing it's a puppet show that that they say that they picked up from like across the Sea of Fallen Stars. What they've got is a backdrop up and there's like a light behind it. So it's like a shadow puppet show that is accompanied by a few musicians who are accentuating the story by playing music specific to the puppet show. This is a reference to a Javanese puppet show culture, and it's really interesting if you're ever wanting to go check out something cool like that. So, using that almost music degree. So, you can see her like kind of like walk in, and as people start to take notice, one of the people who work at the temple in the purple and gold walk up and offer a drink. And people that you don't know if they know her or if they're just approaching her because she's like walking in and making that sort of like presence where people want to speak to somebody, but she's like making conversation with a few people and she's laughing and you can tell she's looking around and she like glances over in your direction but doesn't seem to like acknowledge you in any way and stands back and she sees Gnoss wrestling with a tiger.
Is she within 30 feet of me?
Yeah. We'll say it's like
I'm gonna use the shape water. Is she holding like a glass of a drink or anything?
Yeah, she's picked something up off like essentially a tray.
Yeah, I'm gonna turn her drink into ice. Like inside the goblet.
Okay.
Using the necklace.
Perfect. So you see her like she's talking to somebody and she's laughing and she's like casually put her hand on their shoulder and this like late 30s looking gentleman who's got like the ever so slight graying edges to the front of his temples is like laughing back and you see him like flush a little bit as she's talking to him and then you can see as she's holding the glass that her hand kind of flickers for a second as if like something was uncomfortable about the way she had been kind of like cupping the goblet and she like lifts her hand back up and like holds the stem of the glass and kind of like looks down into it and makes like a curious eyebrow sort of like look at this and as in like another one of the temple people walk by she just kind of like sets that one on a tray and like reaches for another one but misses it as they like continue walking out of the way thinking she's just turning a glass and that there's nothing there for her to take and she looks a little bit disappointed.
Tazlin chalks that up in the mental note of a victory on a point for him and goes back to walk. He'll go watch Gnoss wrestle the tiger.
Okay.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Roar!
Yeah, she like makes an exit from that person and you can tell that she had been looking for Gnoss because when she kind of like zoned in, she like dismisses herself basically or excuses herself and is like heading in that same vague direction. But you're kind of like a little bit, you're further enough away that she would get there first so you can be behind her if that's what you're hoping to do.
Oh, absolutely, that will not do.
No? Okay. So you're gonna like
Tazlin's gonna, yeah. We'll go at a hurried pace, maybe not party safe pace.
Gotcha. Okay. It's very crowded in here, but it's also open aired. It's pretty easy to just kind of like slide through the crowd. You might bump a couple of people with your bag, but if you wanted to get there before her, she's definitely going to be taking like slow, purposeful steps to make sure people notice her. So it'd be easy enough to speed up and arrive there before her too.
Perfect.
Okay. So, Gnoss, you're wrestling with the tiger. And you've got this halfling pinned under you, and he's just kind of like, he's grumbling, but you know he's not actually mad about it as you're like ruffling his hair and such. And you see that Sophie and Heezy are approaching kind of like off in the distance, and Tazlin is walking up to you as well.
This has been fun. I think I'm being summoned.
Don't
let
stop
them
on
go.
my account. I mean, you looked like you were having a blast.
There is nowhere in this place where I would not have a blast. Taslin, may I introduce to you Ulysses and his good companion, Dandy.
A pleasure, I'm sure.
Ulysses is the halfling, Dandy is the tiger.
Yeah, and the halfling kind of like stands up and like brushes off his pants and straightens a hat that he was wearing, puts his hand on his waist, and he's like, "How you know our girl?"
It's quite a long story. We adventure together.
Adventure together.
Slay monsters.
I know what adventuring is. He looks up at Gnoss. He's like, "You nice to you?"
He does listen to me when I put a foot down. That's as much as I gotta ask.
Can't imagine many people survive who don't do that. All right, Dandy. He's all right. And you could see like the tiger had like rolled over onto like its belly, and it was kind of like surveying the situation. And as soon as as soon as Ulysses is like, "This one, he's okay," it kind of like relaxes again and like lolls over to its side, and its like tail flicks, and it starts to like clean its ears from where it was wrestling.
And I kind of look over Taslin's shoulder at Sophie, and I'm like, "So what you need?"
Nothing, I'm just doing the rounds. I heard a tiger growling, I figured it might be interesting to watch.
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, it's a very pretty tiger, yeah.
It is.
Very pretty tiger.
But I'll let you go. I'm sure you want to be the life of the party tonight.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not me necessarily. You have a good time, too. You do what you want. That's the whole point of the party.
Don't worry, I am having such a blast.
Are you? I'm gonna get real close to his face and be like, looking deep into his eyes.
I think that's
Are
an
you?
insight check.
I think so, yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
You roll insight, Taslin. You can make your roll to me if you don't want it to roll it publicly, and choose whether or not that's persuasion or deception, and you don't have to tell us.
I would like to use a viewer inspiration for this.
All right. You just straight up rolled. Oh no.
15.
Seems like he's having a good time. He's Taslin. You know, he's a little like hard to read. He's not like, he doesn't look shifty when he's saying it. He doesn't sound like he's being sarcastic, more so than Taslin like always sounds. There's nothing about his like body stance that gives you any indication that he's like holding something back. He's always got something, like he's always got some card up his sleeve. So you kind of have like that general like feel about him kind of always. Not that it's a bad thing, but that there's just like something Taslin isn't sharing always, because he's like kind of private in that way, or he doesn't want people to know things about him.
Yeah.
But this is like completely not out of the ordinary.
Okay. Given that I can't tell, I'm gonna look very pensive like this for a second, and be like, "All right, I have an idea. Come with me.
Oh,
Come with me."
right.
And I'll take his
All right.
hand, and I'll run off.
I'll get dragged along.
Yeah.
I'm gonna run towards Ryman. Dad.
Yes, sweetheart.
Can we go see the scroll library?
Yeah, I don't see why not. Is that something you want to do right now?
Taslin is a wizard, and
Oh, that's right. You're right.
yeah, and I know that depending on the scroll, people can just come up in here and look if you know that they're adventurers and stuff. So I was thinking maybe we could, give them a glimpse at the repository.
Yeah, of course. More than welcome. I'll show you the way.
Thanks.
Right, that's so generous. Before I go, one thing, Gnoss, all that wrestling has kind of messed up your hair a little bit. Give me 1 second. And I'm going to cast Seeming on Gnoss to make her hair just, like, a little bit nicer and kind of have, like, a gold sheen, like it's diamonds, like...
Ooh. I'm really excited by that.
Wow. Thank you, Taslin. This is beautiful. I've never felt so pretty.
You're always pretty, dear.
Life is short.
Dad, you're biased.
You are still covered in tiger fur, so maybe just
Oh
quick
yeah.
brush.
Yeah. If she was covered in tiger fur, I could have made her appear nice.
Ryman will lead them back to the more enclosed part, and down a set of stairs into the vault area and also library. They keep it underground just to make sure that, the scrolls, which a lot of them are very old, kind of have more of a protection from the weather and humidity. And yeah, it's just a long room of just shelves and shelves of scrolls and tomes and grimoires and all sorts of books. Help yourself. Is there anything in particular that you're looking for?
No. I'm sure Timora will provide whatever is needed.
She always does.
Have a good party.
Good luck, Taz.
I'll check in routinely. And Tazlin's gonna look around for any spell scrolls and maybe spend like 2-3 hours copying them into a spell book.
I love it. Okay, we'll do some rolls in a bit and see what you go ahead and make like a couple investigation checks as you're like looking around.
Sure. My passive investigation is a number. It's 20, but
Your passive
I'll
is
roll as
20.
well.
Okay. Are you actually like leaving things to chance and just kind of glancing around and doing like all right,
Maybe the
Timora,
first
do your
one,
thing?
like he'll probably pull one scroll out at random and be like, "That's my one." For Timora, I'm having. So
Okay.
On the other
I love
two
it.
would be like him actually investigating.
Okay.
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo, catch a tiger by the toe. What'd you say?
If Gnoss catches him, let him go.
If Dandy screams, let him go, so that Gnoss doesn't break your face. Doesn't rhyme.
Appropriate, though.
Yeah. I love that the first one that's the like, all right, this one's for Timora is the critical
Nat
fail.
1.
I love that. And conversely, a critical success, which I feel like means I have to make that one a good one. So we'll talk about what that could be based on what Townsend would want probably afterwards. And then with the 24, you go through and you're able to like find some stuff that you're interested in. What is it? Are you looking for anything in particular? You said like spells, but like what kind of spells are you looking for?
Any spell he doesn't currently know.
Okay. That'll take some time to go through, yeah. So
There's a
we'll
lot
do
of
that.
spells Tazlin doesn't know, but I mean, I think Tazlin is just like, oh, this is interesting. And like give it a look, be like, oh, that's what it does. Yeah, sure.
Okay, perfect. So I don't know your spell list, so I will look at that later, and we'll figure out what you have, and we'll let everyone know next session because I don't even have any idea what all Tesla might even know at this point. Yeah. So, but you find, we'll say you find 3 that are interesting, and you're going to save the Timora one for last, and then I'll decide what that is. Anything else in particular anyone is doing? I know at some point you're wanting to take them aside, Gnoss, and at this point everything's gotten started. The party seems to be going well. There haven't been any fights. There's not been any like crazily absurd like mistakes. The fire breather haven't accidentally caught the aerial silks on fire or anything like that. So everything seems to be going well.
Yeah, I think when Ryman and Gnoss get upstairs, there's a slower song playing, and he'll ask Gnoss to dance.
I was gonna ask you the same thing. Oh my gosh! Oh yeah, of course.
A nice father-daughter dance. Just I loved her
Butterfly
first.
kisses. Sorry.
Yeah,
go ahead.
yeah,
You can step on my toes if you want, and I'll kind of help you.
yeah. Who can name another song that's played at a father-daughter dance at a wedding? Because there's 5.
Oh God, what are the 5? Butterfly
Is it
kisses.
some people wait a lifetime?
Yeah, that's a good one. I held her first. I loved her first.
That's popular where I'm at right here. Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, in Texas, yeah. Anyway.
I think I've seen like 3 butterfly kisses with the mama's air, sticking little white flowers all up in her hair. That one. That was the one that's always like, walk me down the aisle, daddy. Just about time. Sorry, obviously I have seen that way too many times. continue.
That's good. That's good.
You have your wonderful dance. It's definitely not like a weird country song that's playing unless you want it to be a weird country song that's playing. It could also be something cool like big band. We don't have to stick to tropes. But I do love the idea of that. Is there anything, is this something Raymond planned? Did he like...
I mean, he definitely wanted to pull her aside and have, a quiet moment just between the two of them. But yeah, I mean, he didn't like request the song or anything. It was just getting the opportunity when he found it.
Of course, the blessing of fortune, sort of thing.
I have a confession to make, and that is, I lost the glaive. I lost the glaive that you gave me, the one that had my name on it that you made.
Okay.
But it's not like lost. I gave it away, which could be worse. But I promise it's not. If you let me explain.
It's not worse.
I literally gave it to Coralon. It's in Waterdeep. It's in the Temple of the Seldarine. There are Phantom Guardians there who have been having some trouble resisting like magical stuff. So I thought that giving them something magical that wasn't tied to the Seldarine would help, and it did. It did. We fought them, and we fought them off, and we won. There was a Nightwalker involved, and we won. That was Tazlin. That was all Tazlin.
Why did you think that I would be anything but proud for you doing that?
Well, I mean, I guess I knew that you wouldn't be upset, but
no, you did a charitable act. You gave to a god. You helped others. You gave something that meant something to you to someone else. There's no greater thing we can do.
Thanks, Dad.
Do you think your friends are having fun? I'm worried. We put one of them in a library and the other one's in the corner writing.
No. Yeah, that's their fun. Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's fine.
Yeah.
I've missed you a lot.
I missed you too a lot. I wish I knew magic so that I could keep in contact with you. I have thought about sending sendings to you through my companions, but they like bitch all the time about how much they hate sending, so it's like I can't do that. I can't do that to them.
Yeah.
But if you have like a sending stone or something, I'll definitely like take one half that. And maybe we can like say a message 25 words or less every day.
I'm sure we have something. If not, I will find it. And it's actually funny you brought up spells. Do you remember the last time you were here wasn't under the best circumstances? You were disintegrated into lava. I don't ever want that to happen again. I don't ever want to sit on the sidelines and not be able to help you. So I've been learning a few spells myself, trying to get away from the old bounty hunter side of things. I learned Revivify.
That's useful. Definitely.
And I just want you to know that I could not be more sorry for not being there when you needed me.
I get you. I definitely get you. And I understand. I thoroughly can empathize with the feeling of being forced to be on the sidelines while you watch someone else you love get hurt. That happens to me all the time. However, I did have my companions, and my companions were successfully there for me. They brought me back, and I came back better, stronger, faster, more wise than I ever was before.
You did, I can tell.
Wampum said so himself when we were in a moment of privacy, that dying has done nothing but good things for me, turns out. And you know that I'm like not exactly like myself anymore. I'm something else.
You have always had more power in your little finger than I will ever have.
That's not true at all.
There is something different now. Well, I knew there was something when I pulled you off those streets, and I've always told you.
Thank you.
Anyway, I saw Sophie's here. How's that going?
Ooh, you see your dress?
I did.
Good God, Time Morris, save me.
I think that was a little intentional.
I don't know what to do about it.
So I guess you're not seeing anyone right now.
It's complicated.
Okay.
All right. Between you and me, I am waiting for Kale.
Really?
Don't make fun of me. Please don't make fun of me.
Oh, no, he's a very interesting person.
I mean, there's like surface level Kale, right? But then there's under the surface level. And under the surface level is, well, I mean, surface level 2 is all smart and funny and wise and handsome. And all things that people like.
All good
generally.
things, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and his sense of morals, unquestionable. Absolutely unquestionable. If he says something, then you can know that it's right. Not like he's right all the time. He's not right all the time. Sometimes he can't see the forest for the trees, you know?
Okay.
But that's where I come in. That's where we help each other. And that's why I think that we make a good team.
Are you afraid of, and I don't mean this in a mean way, but are you afraid of breaking him?
No, not at all.
Okay.
He knows, healing stuff.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Is that what you mean? I don't know what you mean.
No, it absolutely. Well, I've always told you, I've been upfront, safe words are important.
Right, yeah. No, we haven't gotten that far yet. I just recently told him that I had feelings for him, and he said he had to work some stuff out first, and I don't know. We went to do the things to work those things out, but I don't know what the result is yet. Honestly, he hasn't really talked to me about it or anything. I don't know. I feel like I'm important to him, but not like that. And if that is the case, then I'll accept it. But I mean, I tell you, if that isn't the case, he needs to tell me soon, because I am feeling a little bit disrespected with the pull along. I mean, you see Sophie over there.
I do.
And I would like
I'm not dead.
Right. I would like to act upon my instincts, but I know that that's not the correct choice of action right now, and I am confused about what should be, so I can only kind of do what I think is right in the meantime, and it's tough.
Gnoss, you have always had a good heart, and it has always led you to the place where you've needed to be. I would say listen to that, and let Timora take care of the rest.
I agree. Thanks, Dad. Thank you for your faith.
Of course.
Always. Even if the rest of the world is destroyed, I know that I will always have you in my corner, and I can't tell you how you changed my life when I realized that was the case.
You changed mine.
Better or worse? Better, right? Right?
Infinitely.
Oh, okay, good.
So you needed to talk about something. It actually happens I need to talk about something with you as well.
Okay.
Does it have to do with Timora?
Kind of, in a way.
Mine does, and I think the party's going fine now. If you have a moment, if your friends have a moment, it might be nice to step aside and talk.
Yeah, I'll gather them up, for sure. All right, where would you like to meet?
We'll meet in my office.
Okay.
In the back room.
Be there in 5 minutes.
All right. Love you.
I love you too, Dad.
Thank you for the gift sub, Swordsfall. You're going to go gather everyone? That's the plan? Do you still want, Auntie Ophelia there, essentially?
Yeah, I think, since she's a senior member of the temple as well.
Okay. Alright, yeah, it's easy enough. I mean, she's pretty easy to spot. Gnoss's friends are all pretty easy to spot, so if you all make your rounds and, gather everyone up, then you could easily, basically leave word with the other, senior members Hoots into like the administrative duties as well as your like freedom fighters, whose name escapes me at the moment, to just like keep an eye on things because you'll be stepping out of the way for a minute. And do we want to have that conversation now, or are we going to end up having a two-parter with Derek coming back next week? I'm fine.
Two-parter.
Yeah.
Can you play next week?
I can.
Yes.
All right. Then that's
Permanent member. No.
That is probably a good time. Well, we've got a few minutes. Is there anything else in particular anyone wanted to do? No? Are you going to go out and fetch all of your friends, Gnoss? Is that the plan? Is Raymond will go get... Okay.
Yeah, I'm approaching Wampum's back while he's at the more meat table.
Okay. As soon as you exit, you're cut off by Sophie.
Hello.
I came.
You did. You look amazing.
Thank you. Not that I ever don't, but...
Yeah, of course, it's true.
I love this, and your hair looks so wonderful right now.
Thank you. Prestidigitation.
Ah, that is a useful spell. And she like she does the thing where she kind of like she reaches up and like brushes it off of your face a little bit, and she's like, "Oh, it's very soft right now." And she kind of looks at her hand as there's like a tiger fur that didn't look like it was on your face, but when her hand comes away, it's on her, and she's like, "So you'll be here all evening?"
That's dandy. Yeah. That's good news. I'm very happy that you and Heezy decided to come. Sincerely, I would like for you to have a good time.
Oh, I plan to. I'm sure he is as well. And she looks over. He was watching the puppet show. Looks like he's still over there. Sometimes it's hard to distinguish him from the children. They're all just, you know.
He's the one that's green.
Well, there is that. There is that.
Can I get you a drink?
Always.
I'll be walking towards the server with a plate, and I actually do have somewhere that I need to be soon. There's a meeting that's going down regarding important matters of the cosmic plane, but that shouldn't take too long. You said you're still gonna be here, right? So.
Oh, I'll be here as long as you'll have me.
Okay. Thanks.
And when you're
appreciate that.
When you were walking, she kind of like threaded her arm through yours again. When you hand her the drink, she takes that with the one hand, and the other one, like she puts the other hand on the small of your back, and is like, "Just come find me when you're ready," and takes a drink.
I will do that. I promise.
I look forward to it. And she'll kind of like twirl away, and the dress will kind of like flare out behind her, and her hair is like tossed over her shoulder, and you can see that she's got like some sort of like body shimmer on, and so it's like kind of like almost like this golden glow to her, and the like light the braziers have all been like lit, even though it's still like light outside, but it's causing this sort of like golden glow to emit to this entire sort of like open, is it Acropolis type area? Is that the right word? I think I always get that word wrong, but the open air sort of like atmosphere with the gold dome. It's all just kind of very golden, and you think she probably knew that, and so there's some sort of like body glitter going on that like reflects that and just makes her kind of like take on the aura of the place as she twirls away to go like lean over a craps table and like get somebody's attention.
I just like I take like the whole tray of drinks that the server was passing by with, and I just like systematically just down them all.
Okay, go ahead and make a con save.
22.
Yeah, you're fine. Just
drink more.
Mm-hmm. You probably you can grab a second tray easily. Like they know who you are, even if they're newer here. It seems like they've been informed. So anytime you're around, you are like stopped and checked in with. Tray of food, tray of drinks, whatever. When you drink all of the first one, you see somebody else like 10 feet away stop and take notice, and they show up with the second tray and like hold it out.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. You don't even know. Thank you.
They just set the tray in your hands and they go. So you had 2 trays of drinks, so you can drink at your leisure now. And Perfect. That's where we'll end for the evening. for the day. Thank you everyone for joining us. It's been so fun. We're gonna make this a two-parter. A one-shot's never a one-shot, and a single episode is never a single episode when you're having fun. I hope you had fun hanging out with us. I'm Katie Quixotic. You can find me everywhere as that. I stream sometimes. Follow me on Twitter because I haven't made a schedule, but I'm in and around. Thank you again, Swordsfall, for the subs, and Full for the dono, and Callan for the dono, or the bits, I should say, for the players and their rerolls, because Gnoss might need to make a couple of saves next episode. Who knows? We'll see what happens. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, so I will let everyone introduce themselves. We'll go in our normal order, and then after Graham, we'll let Derek go.
Hi, I'm Carl. I played Lafcadio Whitehorn. You can find me on this channel also Wednesday nights playing with Casey in a new game that we only have 2 games in the book, so get in on the ground floor while the getting's good. You can also catch me Friday nights on Sabrick's channel where we're playing a Planescape game. Again, that's me and Casey and others, but I mean, I'm there for Casey, that's for sure. I was a big fan of today's episode, our special guest, who had very masterful descriptions of the temple and of the event, and the role play with Gnoss. You checked up all the boxes. Well done. And that's me done.
I'm Vinny. I played Kale. He's a cleric. You could tell because he cast Plane Shift once. You're never ever gonna find me anywhere else on the internet, so don't ask about it. My favorite part was probably also just in general. Derek, you did a great job with Ryman. In particular, at the kind of like the one-on-one at the end, I thought was really good, just between the two of you. I liked that a lot. Now I'm done, and I guess Casey goes next.
I guess I do. I have been your champion of Time War and Taylor of the Plains, Heckler Big Fire Chickens. She would fight the Storm Slayer of Shadows, Gnoss, the boss of Neverwinter. And as Carl has said, you can find me on those channels at those times as well. And my favorite part was also just anything Derek did. But also, I thought it was pretty cool, the conversation that Kale had with Lafcadio, or Lafcadio had with Kale, about the nature of different types of worships and the nature of Westgate. Was all some pretty cool exposure. So that was neat. And next.
Hello, everybody. I'm John. I am the Dwarf of Mirabar, the Master of the Axe, enemy the drown, travel the plains, destroy the shadows, deliverer of certain death. I am the Wampum Thunderbelly of the Celadon. And yes, Derek, you are more than welcome any day, any time, any hour. Enjoyed everything about it. Looking definitely forward to next week.
Oh boy, it's me now. My name is Graham, or Graham Crackers as I am more commonly known. You can find me every Saturday from 11 to 2 on this channel playing with these fine fellows. Outside of that, you'll probably not find me unless you're on the Discord, and then you'll probably find me. I play Tazl Nevrio, he's a wizard. And my favorite part was pretty much everything, but I guess I'll give a specific. I really enjoyed the moment with Derek and Gnoss and Gnoss's emotional turmoil. That was so good.
And to you, Derek.
All right. Hi, everyone. I am Derek Sword. Yes, Sword actually is my real last name. Yes, it is awesome. No, you cannot have it. This has been amazing. This has been an awesome game. I really appreciate the invite, specifically from Casey. Playing with you all has been incredible. I told you all that I've been watching your show for a while, so it's very surreal to play alongside each and every one of you. You're all amazing role players and storytellers. It's truly an honor. I am actually really looking forward to playing again next week. A two-shot is more than I ever could have hoped for. You can find me on Twitter at dsword16. You can actually watch me on the Stalwart channel, Stalwart Initiative channel tonight. We're actually starting a new game as of tonight where we play campaigns and pre-written stories from the DM's Guild, and I'll be playing a warlock called Atticus Whiteclaw on there. That starts at 5:30 EST tonight, so check it out. And as far as my favorite part, not to be self-serving, I will pick another part that doesn't involve me, but I do appreciate the very kind words from all of you. My favorite part was actually very small, and it was towards the end when Gnoss did her hair flip to Sophie. It was very, maybe it's natural, maybe it's prestidigitation. So that was a lot of fun. It was a great small little moment of just like flicking magical diamonds in your ex's face. So again, thank you all so much. This has been amazing.
I love it. Yes, that
It was
very
a
good.
5th level spell.
Hey, it's been used to great purpose, and it lasts for like 24 hours, so there'll be plenty of use out of it. That was a good move on Talson's part. I always or often go last because I have to like parse through what I think my favorite parts are. Obviously, like Ryman is the best dad, and I love the whole dance thing at the end. That was wonderful. The ensuing conversation. Again, I always just am like, I like everything you all did because I love the like instant Taslin like animosity and the little exchange going on there. I love Lefcadio being like, man, they got a lot of money, you know, they could probably do some good with this. I just love like all the stuff that you all think of all the time. So there's really no way for me to ever pinpoint to one thing, but definitely Best Dad has just been like, I love it. Anyway, so cool. We'll see you all next week at 11 Eastern, 10 Central, maybe a few minutes after if I'm getting my notes together like I was today. And I think we should have a raid, right? Plan? You probably have something sorted out there, Kyle?
Yep. Pickings are slim, but I see Adam Coble is DMing over on Sherlock Hume's channel, so stay tuned till after the credits. We will be jumping over there.
See y'all. Bye.
Thanks, everybody.
See you next week.